Ladies and gentlemen, today we are live for another edition of a live commentary live stream on the channel. It is the NASCAR Xfinity Series A-Game 200 at the Dover Raceway here today in Dover, Delaware. We are back. No live commentary was last weekend. I was at Talladega for the Xfinity, the Cup Series, and even the ARCA race Saturday afternoon as well, but we are back for consecutive weeks of live commentary action once again on the channel. And this week we've got the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series both racing at Dover, and the Monster Mile is going to take on some interesting racing today. We had a quick rainstorm which washed out qualifying earlier this morning for the NASCAR Cup Series. They did get their practice session in though, so there was a little bit of on-track activity. All the rubber washed away though after that with the rain coming in. This race should be starting here in a few minutes. They have already given the command to fire engines, so we actually started this live stream just a couple minutes earlier just so that way we can get through the starting lineup for today's race, so that way when the race actually does start, we will get the live commentary underway. Now, it's going to be tough for me to look at the chat today. I apologize for that. For whatever reason, my TV is not running Hulu properly, so I'm having to watch the race on my phone and commentate it for you guys. I have my earpiece in. That really doesn't matter because I can't actually connect on my laptop either, but it is working on my phone for whatever reason. So we are going to kind of freelance this one here today. Hopefully I don't have any issues with the Cup race tomorrow. We'll go through today's starting lineup for this Dover race. Parker Kligerman going to be on the pole. All practice and qualifying yesterday for the Xfinity Series was rained out as well, so nobody has had on-track activity with their Xfinity cars this weekend at the Monster Mile. But Parker Kligerman, due to the random starting order, based off of the metric system that NASCAR uses when when qualifying is rained out, that Parker Kligerman will be on the pole this weekend, coming off a runner-up finish last week at Talladega. Cole Custer will end up starting at second, looking for his first win of the season as well. Sheldon Creed and Jeb Burton will be in row number 2. Jeb Burton won his first race of the season last week, and the first win ever for Jordan Anderson racing in the Xfinity Series in that 27 car at Talladega a week ago. His teammate Parker Retzlaff will be on the inside of row number 3 with Austin Hill to his outside. Hill, a 3-time winner already this season. Josh Williams and Brandon Jones will be in row 4. Brandon Jones really needs to get something going. He is still below the cutoff line for the point situation through the first quarter of the season. Brendan Poole and Chandler Smith will be in row number 5. Good starting spot for Poole today, and Smith won at at Richmond earlier this season, so he's looking for his second win today. Riley Herbst and Ryan Truex will be in row 6. Truex making that start for the 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing once again. He's done a great job in that car already this year. Derek Kraus will be in the 10 on the inside of row 7 with Colleague Racing, and then Brett Moffitt to his outside. Jeremy Clements and Daniel Hemrick will be in row number 8. Hemrick still looking for his first win of the season. Hasn't won since the championship race back in 2021 at Phoenix. Greg Gaulding and Justin Allgaier will start in row 9. All the JRM Chevrolet starting fairly deep in the field today. Josh Berry, the defending winner of this race, will be on the inside of row 10 with Ryan Sieg to his outside. Joe Graf Jr. and John Hunter Nemechek in row number 11. Nemechek has won twice this season, including the second to last race for the Xfinity Series a couple weeks ago at Martinsville. CJ McLaughlin and Sam Mayer will be back in row number 12. Row 13 will be Kyle Sieg and Kaz Grala. Garrett Smithley and Sammy Smith in row 14. Sammy Smith, the winner at another 1-mile racetrack this season at Phoenix. Ryan Ellis and Raja Karuth will be in row 15. Anthony Alfredo and Patrick Emerly in row 16. Row 17 will be Jeffrey Earnhardt and Chad Chastain. Kyle Weatherman, Corey Heim will be making a start here today in the Xfinity Series in that 24 car. They'll be in row 18, and then row 19 rounding out the field will be Timmy Hill and Stephen Parsons. The Fox booth will radio up somebody here in the pre-race. You guys will get to listen in. Sorry if the audio is a little off with this again. I'm having to watch the race on my phone today, so that is where the audio is coming from.
15 Dover winner, Regan Smith. Hey, Regan.
Point up, Josh Berry has been on fire this season. 7 top 10s through the first 9 races. In all but one of those races, though, he has had to come from the back of the pack at some point during the course of the event. Today, a little bit different. He's going to start 19. He's got to come from mid-pack at the beginning of the race. He told me he's not concerned about that. He's got plenty of experience doing that this year. The biggest challenge for him will be keeping the fenders on that race car, keeping it clean, and not trying to get too much too early as he works his way forward. Josh?
Well, Regan, it was a scary wreck last week for Daniel Hemrick at Talladega, one in which he flipped and then came to a rest upside down on his roof. Well, surprisingly, I talked to him and he said by Monday he felt fine. Even after the wreck, he felt okay. He felt good enough to go to his normal scheduled workout, no soreness, no anything. Now turning to today and Dover, this is a place where he's been able to finish in the top 10, but not competing for wins. So he said this year they made some big swings to their setup and hoping that it gives them that extra oomph that they need to get a win here today, guys.
Thank you, Josh. We talked about it. What a wild Saturday it was last week at Talladega. 10 cautions, 2 red flags. We showed you what happened to Hemrick there in a very scary moment for the 0-2 as well. Kyle Weatherman driving today for Our Motorsports. He's in for Blaine Perkins, and this is the crash that happened late in stage 2 a week ago. Up and over, barrel rolling down the back straightaway.
I thought the camera work was crazy to see how high he gets rolling down the backstretch above these motorhomes at one point where you can see the roof of the car.
Blaine was taken to a local hospital, evaluated, stayed there for a couple of days, then was released. He's back home now. Blaine, we're glad you're home, doing well. We miss you. We hope to see you back at the track soon. And take good care of yourself. And we'll look forward to watching Kyle Weatherman, who's driven this car this season, had success. He starts 35th here today after qualifying was washed out one day ago. Now we look at our race analysis. 200 laps today, 200 miles obviously here.
So there you heard it. 200 laps, 200 miles will be the scheduled distance for this afternoon's race. 45 laps in each stage 1 and stage 2. 110 laps in the final stage. Pit road speed is 35 miles per hour. And the fuel window will be 85 to 90 laps. There will be a competition caution scheduled for lap 20 in this race for teams to make adjustments. Again, there was no practice or qualifying that was originally scheduled for yesterday. I would like to think that there will also be a Cop Yellow for the Cup race tomorrow because of the rain showers that washed out qualifying, but we'll have to wait on that, obviously, till tomorrow. But as far as today goes, again, Cop Yellow at lap 20. These drivers will not have to pit for fuel or tires at all in the first stage. If they don't want to pit during that competition caution, we may see some drivers stay out. It'll definitely split the strategy up in stage 1 because they can go on fuel all the way to the end of the stage if they choose. Same goes for stage number 2. All right, Terry Lewis, Philip Moore, Marvin Davis, Evan Stevens, Wade Selinsky, and others, welcome into the stream. We've got about 20 people watching right now. Appreciate everybody tuning in here today. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Of course, was unable to watch the race or commentate the race for you guys last week being at the racetrack, but we are back again here today and tomorrow for the Xfinity Cup races at Dover. Should be getting the one-to-go signal this time by. And again, if you're wondering why I keep changing screens every now and then, that's the only way I can look at the chat today, so I apologize. But I'm actually watching the race on my phone today. My TV is acting up. I usually watch the races on Hulu, so I'm able to stream it off my phone. And I have the earpiece in, but I can't actually hear the race broadcast, so I'm sorry if I can't relay all the messages to you guys. I'll try to let you guys listen in as much as you possibly can. As usual, hopefully the audio is fine from my phone that you may have heard moments ago from the Fox booth leading up to the start of this race. But we are about to go racing. This is one of the funner tracks on the schedule. One of the more unique looking racetracks, to say the least, as well. If you've never been to Dover, I highly recommend it. It's a great spectacle looking racetrack. The surrounding area is very nice as well. Definitely, if you're a NASCAR fan, I think it's one of the tracks you definitely want to get to in person. They've added one more lap, by the way, to the parade laps for this race, letting the field get back bunched together after they checked pit road times the time before they went past the front stretch. Rounding off of turn 2 right now. Parker Kligerman's elected the outside. Again, this is his first pole of the season. We'll see what that 48 car can do. He comes into this race in the playoffs as we run right now. He's got some drivers on his tail and better equipment like a Daniel Hemrick and a Brandon Jones behind him in points. We'll see if they can run him down into the second half of the regular season for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, as we're very close to the halfway mark already. Dale Opplinger, thanks for tuning in. My pick is Cole Custer for today's race. Linda Bollinger, thanks for tuning in also. Yeah, I'm taking Cole Custer for this one. He has won at this track in the Xfinity Series before. Starting on the front row, I think he's going to have a good chance to win again today, so he is my pick. I've had 2 Xfinity races correct this year. Last one was the Nemechek win at Martinsville, and then I predicted Austin Hill win at Atlanta also. So here we go. Field at a slow 40 miles an hour until they get to the Geico restart zone. As they do, Parker Kligerman leads the field to the green, and we are racing at Dover, the first laps for the Xfinity Series this weekend at the track. Cole Custer didn't really take off well in the initial start. A lot of contact off of turn 2 between Jeb Burton and Sheldon Creed. Burton crowded the 2 car of Creed, who was underneath him. Probably didn't realize he was there, moved himself out of line. And Creed moves up to third. A lot of 3-wide racing in the middle of turns 3 and 4, further back in the pack as these drivers just trying to get a feel for the race cars for the first time. Creed to the inside of Parker Kligerman now for second after Cole Custer will lead lap 1. Jeb Burton hot on the heels of the 2 car once again. Creed is clear off of turn 2. Jeb Burton trying to go for third on the inside lane as well. Not quite going to be able to get there. Now, the 4 drivers racing for the Dash for Cash today will be the top 4 in the early going of this race. In fact, Cole Custer, Sheldon Creed, Parker Kligerman, and Jeb Burton will be racing for $100,000 in today's race. It's the last week of the Xfinity Series Dash for Cash. Side by side for third between Jeb Burton and Parker Kligerman. 3 wide now goes Austin Hill off the exit of turn 2. They're getting really racy in the early going despite not having a great feel for the race cars. Burton ends up hopping out of the middle lane. He's stuck on the outside behind Kligerman into 3 and 4. He'll lose a spot to Austin Hill and Chandler Smith as Burton falls back to 6th. Austin Hill moving up to 4th place. Brandon Jones looking to the inside. Highest running JRM Chevy in the early going of the race. Highest starting JRM Chevy for this race as well. Couldn't get to the inside of Jeb Burton, though, and might be a lost position for himself as he has to go to the top in 3 and 4, which obviously isn't rubbered in yet. Ryan Truex battles the 9 car. Overcast skies, 63 degrees is the air temperature at Dover for this race today. And Cole Custer has now led the first 5 laps of this race. Again, Cop Yellow scheduled for lap 20 and 45 laps scheduled in total for stage 1. Sheldon Creed is in the race lead, Cole Custer is in the race lead by half a second over Sheldon Creed right now. A lot of side-by-side action still going on in turns 3 and 4. Lap number 6 at the start-finish line go some of those cars in the middle of the pack. And we've got a spinner, which is Jeremy Clements in the 51 bringing out our first caution of the race. So lap 6, Jeremy Clements spins in turns 1 and 2. Slides. In fact, it wasn't a complete spin. Goes down to the apron of the track. Caution came out. He made a great save. And it doesn't look like he really made contact with anything. It just might have had contact which caused the spin. It looked like Riley Herbst was to his outside, although Clements was already sideways from the camera angle they are showing on the replay. And he was quite a ways off the bottom. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Clements washed up the track a little bit and then got into Herbst and then completely lost control, which caused the spin. But Clements' car is going to be okay. Rough start to the season for that 51 team. And this will bunch the field back up once again. And we'll have a restart and a few more laps before the competition caution. Going to a commercial break in the early going of this one. Thanks for everybody tuning in. We will stay right here with our live commentary coverage. Bond 1771, thanks for tuning into the stream as well. Got 35 people watching in the early going of this race. A lot of people maybe don't know I'm back from Talladega, but it was only a 1-week hiatus, guys. Yeah, glad to be back. I did miss giving you guys the commentary. As fun as it is to see races in person, I'm having almost as much fun giving you guys the commentary for these races on a weekly basis as well. Nothing beats being at the track in person, but this is a very, 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 very close second place. And can't wait to bring you guys the action for tomorrow's Cup race once again as well. Hopefully they can get the race in tomorrow. I do plan on live streaming tomorrow regardless whether they do race or not, unless for some reason the race is moved to Monday. after the scheduled start time for our stream at 12:30. So if for some reason like 12 o'clock rolls around tomorrow afternoon and they postpone the race like very early, I doubt they'll do that, considering they still have a TV window to cover the race for about 3 hours. So I don't think they're going to do that. I think they'll probably try to wait it out until like 2, 3 o'clock at least. And if it's still downpouring, raining at that, which it more than likely will be, then they'll move the race to Monday. So we will be live streaming tomorrow as long as they don't call the race before our scheduled start time. Again, our start time will be at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They move the start time up for the Cup race up an hour. It was originally scheduled for 2. It is now scheduled for 1:11 is the drop of the green flag start time. So we will be live about a little less than 45 minutes before that at 12:30. If you're asking me if I have a Riley Herbst diecast, no, I do not. I don't think we'll see any pit stops. These drivers only had about 6 laps on their tires, and we have a comp yellow coming up. And honestly, considering the fact that there are so many, I wouldn't say so many caution laps, but because of the comp yellow schedule for lap 20 with stage 1 only being 45 laps, I would have to imagine that this is going to more than likely allow drivers to probably stay out of the pits during the comp yellow break as well, because they're only going to have just over 10 laps on their tires by the time the comp yellow waves. Now, the field is doubled up on the backstretch. It will be going green this time. Very, very quick caution. Good job by NASCAR not really having to clean anything up there. I think they're only going to run about 3 caution laps, which on a 1-mile track is not a lot. So we'll get back to racing on lap number 10. We'll have 11 to go until the comp yellow. Field with being doubled up, Cole Custer will be the control car once again. He'll be on the outside now. He actually took the lead from Kligerman in 1 and 2 on the bottom, so it's interesting that he picks the top lane. He did not take off well on the initial fire in the Geico restart zone, but he was still able to clear Kligerman by the middle of 1 and 2. And we'll see if he can do the same with Sheldon Creed to his inside. Green flag back in the air. Following the first caution of the race after the Jeremy Clement spin, all 38 cars still in the running, and Sheldon Creed takes the lead on the bottom away from Custer. So just as I mentioned, surprised Custer didn't take the bottom lane because that was the lane he took to get to the lead initially. Sheldon Creed will take the lead on the bottom, and his teammate Austin Hill now occupies the inside lane through 3 and 4 as he runs side by side with Custer for second. Parker Kligerman in 4th place, all clear of the 9 and the 16 who battle for 5th behind him. And Austin Hill is clear off turn 4 now for second, so RCR runs 1-2 at the front of the field. And there's about a half a second difference between those 2 cars. Maybe about a 4-car length gap between the 2 and the 21. Ryan Truex taking over the 16 car and the 9. Great job by Ryan Truex, passing 2 cars in 3 and 4. It looked like the 9 of Brandon Jones got a little tight in the center of 3 and 4. And went up the track, maybe lifted a little more. Ryan Truex, who's already underneath the 16, was easily able to clear because the 16 checked up behind the 9. And then he also cleared the 9 barely off the exit of the corner as well. Great job by Ryan Truex as he moves to the top 5. Running at his home track here today from New Jersey, just as his older brother Martin Truex Jr. is. And Truex now battling Parker Kligerman, it looks like, for 4th place. On the cusp of being able to make a move. 13th year in the Xfinity Series for Truex, but he's only made 88 career starts. Ran part-time at all except for 2018, where he ran full-time with Colleague Racing. Part-time schedule again this year with JGR. Him and Joe Graff Jr. have split starts in that 19 in the early going of the season. And Ryan Truex definitely making the most of it. He has been very competitive every weekend so far this year. He came close to his first career win at this racetrack back with Joe Gibbs Racing a long time ago. We'll see if he'll be able to maybe come close again today. A 1-second lead now stretched out for Sheldon Creed over Austin Hill. Creed running slightly faster lap times. He was a little over a tenth quicker than Hill that last lap. Quickest car on the track that last lap was Ryan Truex by far, dropping to 23.6. Nobody else even ran in the 23s, let alone a 23.6. And we're about 5 laps away from the comp yellow. Clements trying to get some spots back after the spin. I think he was right around 20th when he initially spun. He's on the outside of Jeffrey Earnhardt in the 44 car, and he's kind of boxed in with a couple cars that were side-by-side in front of him. Clements clears the 44 on the top, and he's looking to make another pass on the top side on Ellis in the 43. And he'll be able to do so, it looks like, fairly easily down the back stretch. Crowds Ellis going into 1 and 2. Almost wasn't clear. Moved down half lane lower the rut he ran in turns 1 and 2, but he makes it work. Change of position, it looks like just outside the top 10 in the top 10 is Josh Berry, just past Brett Moffitt. And we've got another slide and another save. No caution this time. Ryan Ellis in the 43. Same spot that Jeremy Clements had troubles in the middle of 1 and 2. Ryan Ellis has issues. Now the good news is, as long as he stays on the track, which it doesn't look like he's going to, I think he's coming to pit road. So a tire issue potentially on the 43. We stay green. There's no damage on the race cars. I don't know where he may have cut a tire, but Ryan Ellis coming onto pit road. Showing a replay of what potentially happened there. It didn't look like there was contact between himself and Jeffrey Earnhardt. Earnhardt was towards the back bumper of Ellis, but it didn't look like he got into him. Just got out from underneath him, similar to what happened to Jeremy Clements. A 1.4 second lead now for Sheldon Creed, but it's all going to be for naught with the caution coming out here very soon. Ryan Truex now battling Cole Custer for 3rd place on the track. And Josh Berry still battling Chandler Smith for 9th. Berry won this race a season ago, finished 2nd in his first career Dover start back in 2021 as well. This is one of his better racetracks, if not very best track in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. We're under caution once again. Anthony Alfredo has stalled out on the racetrack in the middle of turns 3 and 4 on the outside lane out of the way. So everybody will skate by to the bottom, but a problem for Anthony Alfredo. So he came to a stop, and then he just fired it right back up again after the caution came out. Now, this is the competition caution as well, so I guess we were going to get the comp yellow regardless, and it does look like the right front tire is down on the 78 of Alfredo for BJ McLeod Motorsports. And yep, that right front is down. Got some sparks flying out from underneath it. No major damage on that race car right now. Big bumps on the back straightaway. Looked like he may have hit a piece of debris which cut the tire down. So may have hit something which cut the tire down, unfortunately, there for Alfredo. They've got that car jacked up. Trying to buff out the fenders a little bit on the right side. No major damage. Our second caution of the race today. I'd imagine that everybody is going to stay out. No, we actually don't have that. Ryan Truex, Parker Kligerman, and others on pit road.
Riley Herbst, Brandon Jones, and Josh Berry.
A bit surprising here.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're obviously not worried about tire wear and feel pretty good about the position, try and save that set for the next staging, I guess.
I wonder how much of this decision is about saving the tires versus just maintaining track position at the front of the field. You don't want to give it up, and we're going to go back to the green flag inside of 20 laps to go in the stage. We'll see where the balance is on tires versus the track position. Caution number 2.
Surprised there wasn't any pit road updates there. Piece of debris is definitely smoking on the back straightaway right now. Under a commercial break during the second caution of the day so far in our A-Game 200 at the Dover Motor Speedway. Richard Fulmer, thanks for tuning into the stream as well. Enjoyed watching the 01 race last night. Brought back some fun memories. Definitely had an interesting race. I was surprised how many cautions there were in that one. I was way too young to remember watching that race, so even if I did watch it, I would have only been like 2 years old, so I wouldn't have remembered it. If I would have said I would have remembered it, I would have been lying. So definitely was cool to watch that race last night. Glad you guys voted for it, and you guys will get to vote for the race we will watch on next week's Throwback Thursday as well. Usually every Monday. I was at Talladega last week, so that's why we postponed the live stream to Friday, so I gave you guys an extra day to be able to vote. But obviously being at home this weekend, I will have the poll up for you guys on Monday for you guys to vote for which race we'll watch on Thursday next week. Kansas Classic race. Watch along. Truck and the Cup Series will be at Kansas next week. Xfinity Series will have off Then they will race at Darlington and then another off week before going to Charlotte. So a couple of off weeks for the Xfinity Series in the upcoming race weekends. It'll be a triple header at Darlington for the Truck, Xfinity, and the Cup side that following week. Got about 50 people watching right now. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll stay right here with the coverage. They should get back to racing on the other side of this commercial break once they pick up that debris on the back stretch that they showed right before they cut to the commercial. Of course, competition caution right now. Anthony Alfredo had a flat right front tire, so it was good timing for the comp yellow for him. And he did actually lose a couple laps on pit road, but hopefully they can keep that car on the racetrack at least and maintain himself in this race. And we should have right around 20 laps left in stage 1 when they get back to racing. So it looks like the top 7 cars had stayed out of the pits, which were Sheldon Creed, Austin Hill, Cole Custer, Brandon Jones, Riley Herbst, Josh Berry, and Jeremy Clements. Clements pitted during his first caution when he had spun, bringing out the yellow back on lap 6. And then, obviously, the top 6 haven't pitted yet, so they'll have an extra set of tires the rest of the way if that comes into fruition. And we'll see how much fall off there will be compared to those new drivers that will be on fresh tires. Ryan Truex looked very, very quick. He won the race off of pit road. We'll have 21 laps to go exactly when they get back to racing this time by. Both RCR cars on the front row. Sheldon Creed taking the top as well. We've seen the inside work twice so far, and the outside has not worked once, but everybody continues to take the top. Green flag is back in the air. Creed does a great job to clear Austin Hill in the middle of turns 1 and 2. It does seem like, though, if you can't clear off of turn 2, then you're in trouble and you're going to end up losing the lead. Austin Hill's all over the back of the 2 car, closes in a ton in the center of turns 3 and 4. Creed will lead this lap, but Austin Hill chomping at the bit behind him with 20 to go in the first stage. Cole Custer's right there in third as well. Top 3 all under a tight blanket within 0.3 of a second of each other. Creed has led all but 10 laps today, which were led by Custer to start the race. Josh Berry moving up to 4th on the restart, getting by Brandon Jones and Jeremy Clements. And then Ryan Truex quickly up to 5th as well, right behind Berry. John Hunter Nemechek up to 6th place. We'll see if Jones will be able to hold on those older tires. Obviously, he's going backwards on this restart. We'll see if he can settle in. Daniel Hemrick passing Jeb Burton for 12th on track. Ryan Sieg now to the inside of the 27. Jeb started in row 2 in this one and has fallen straight backwards off the start. Creed's got the clean air advantage, but Austin Hill is not losing any sort of pacing. In fact, the top 5 cars all right next to each other. Truex made a pass on Josh Berry the last lap for 4th. And we'll see if Truex can use those fresh tires to his advantage to get to the lead here before the end of this first stage. Now, obviously, he's not running for points in the Xfinity Series because he's not running full time. So if he does win today, it won't account for a playoff spot. And if he wins this first stage, it won't account for any playoff points except for the owner standings for that 19 car. They will qualify for the owner playoffs. But as far as the driver standings go, Truex not there for the championship. Truex makes a pass for 3rd on Cole Custer through 3 and 4. 3 wide further back. Justin Allgaier boxed in. Had to restart at the tail end of the field. I believe he had a pit road penalty. Brett Moffitt just shot to the outside. 3 wide at that. Riley Herbst down on the bottom in the 92 car. If Josh Williams was in the middle, 07 having a loose moment right in front of Moffitt in the outside lane in 3 and 4. Moffitt did a great job cutting low, making the pass, and just barely keeping it off the sliding 07 car in front of him. Brandon Jones now going to get by Cole Custer. So Custer's struggling on this restart right now as he is dropping way back. Ryan Truex passes Austin Hill for second. He's still got 14 laps to catch and pass Sheldon Creed here before the end of stage 1. Plenty of time. Josh Berry is up to 4th with Custer dropping back moments ago. And Ryan Truex is within about 2 car lengths of Sheldon Creed at the start-finish line this time by. Top 5 as we run. Sheldon Creed leads by 0.4 of a second over Ryan Truex. Austin Hill is in 3rd place, 0.7 of a second off the lead. Josh Berry in 4th, 0.9 of a second off the lead. And John Nemechek is in 5th, 1.5 seconds back. Side by side for the lead through 3 and 4. Truex to the bottom. No chance for Creed to hold on. And hometown driver Ryan Truex leads his first lap of the day. No, he does not. Sheldon Creed, what a crossover. Getting to the bottom lane, but he's not going to be able to get it to stick as he slides up the track. Almost gets into Truex, and now Truex is clear off turn 2. Creed led that last lap by inches at the line when he undercut, but he couldn't hold the inside as tightly as he was held through 1 and 2. The up and under move nearly worked, but not quite. Next driver on fresh tires behind Truex will be John Nemechek, who just moved to 3rd, passing both Austin Hill and Josh Berry the last lap. Berry to the inside of Hill as well. As they battle for 4th, Truex quickly out to a 0.6 of a second lead over Creed. I think Nemechek should be able to get to 2nd. It's going to be tough to catch Truex, so considering they're both in equal equipment, and Truex obviously has gotten through the traffic a lot quicker than everybody else. Won the race off pit road, which allowed him to do so. It looks like Anthony Alfredo, by the way, is out of the race. Scored 17 laps down in 38, so Alfredo will not continue after having that flat right front tire right as the comp yellow came out on lap 20. Nemechek with a big run on Creed now in the front straightaway. 9 laps to go in the stage. Nemechek to the outside lane. Now cutting to the bottom, diamonding the corner off. Straight exit as he cuts to the inside of Creed. He'll pass him easily on the backstretch. And Nemechek is up to 2nd. Sheldon Creed not going to be able to get the crossover that he was able to at least attempt on Ryan Truex a few laps ago. He couldn't even get to the inside of the 20. Nemechek made sure he wasn't going to slide up the track too much once he cleared the 2, getting into 3. Went from offense to defense in a hurry, and now can go back on the attack to try to run Truex down. Berry, by the way, still battling Austin Hill for 4th. Hill holds on to that position for the time being. And Sammy Smith, who started outside the top 20 today, 28th in fact, is up to 8th already in the first stage. All 3 Joe Gibbs Toyotas looking like they have a lot of speed in today's race, and they're looking like the toughest competitors to beat in the early going. And honestly, based off of what I'm seeing so far, I think it's going to be JGR versus Josh Berry in this one. Based off the early speed in this first stage, but some of those drivers haven't pitted to make adjustments. Some of them have, and they've used an extra set of tires. I would imagine everybody will pit at the end of this first stage, but we'll have to wait and see, obviously, to make sure. Thought we'd see more drivers, honestly, pit than what we did at the Comp Yellow. We know the drivers that stayed out during the Comp Yellow will definitely pit during the first stage. Those drivers being by the likes of both the RCR cars of Creed and Hill. Josh Berry, Brandon Jones stayed out, as well as Cole Custer. He also stayed out. Sammy Smith battling Cole Custer for 7th. They've been side by side for about a full lap. Smith is on the inside, Custer on the top. Smith has to duck back in line on the backstretch behind Custer as he can't complete the pass. Very difficult to pass cars at Dover, despite the banking of the racetrack. Very, very tight exits to the corner. It's easy to get alongside somebody. It's just very hard to complete the pass. And if you can't complete it, the car on the outside gets a really, really big run off the exit of the corner with the progressive banking on this concrete oval. Sammy Smith had a chance to pull up clear. Decided not to. Lap car on the bottom may have intercepted his chances of being able to clear Custer getting into 3, but it looks like by the exit of turn 4, he'll complete the pass anyway. And Sammy Smith now up to P7. 3-car battle just outside the top 10 between 2 of the Dash for Cash drivers, Parker Kligerman and Jeb Burton, and Ryan Sieg right there as well. 12th through 14th are those 3 drivers on track. A 2.5 second lead for Ryan Truex over John Hunter Nemechek. with 2 laps to go now in stage 1. Ryan Ellis, who had a slide but stayed on the lead lap of the comp yellow coming out not that long ago. Actually, no, never mind. He pitted. I forgot he ended up making a green flag pit stop. He's a few laps down. He'll lose another lap to Truex right there. 1 more lap left in the stage now. Truex to the inside. Almost got chopped off by the lap car getting into turns 1 and 2. I believe that was Emmerly in the 35. He'll go a lap down. And he will get the free pass as Ryan Truex will win stage 1. Looking very sporty early on. A 2-second gap over Nemechek will be the interval time at the line. So Ryan Truex wins stage 1. And I believe that is his first stage win of the season. John Hunter Nemechek will end up 2nd. Sheldon Creed 3rd. Austin Hill 4th. Josh Berry will finish 5th in the first stage. Brandon Jones in 6th. Sammy Smith 7th, Cole Custer 8th, Daniel Hemrick 9th, and Chandler Smith will round out the top 10. You're watching the A-Game 200 live on KRC at Dover for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We'll take our first ad break of the day. Also, welcome to the stream, Brandon Martinez, Mike George, Patrick Soda, and others. Jack LeBlanc, also, thanks for tuning in. So we will be seeing some pit stops on the other side of this commercial break. You guys will get to listen into the pit reports. Hopefully we get them this time. We didn't even get the pit reports during the first stop when all but the top 7 hit pit road. The 7 drivers who will definitely be hitting pit road this time, so that way they can at least make it on field at the end of stage 2, would be Sheldon Creed, Austin Hill, Josh Berry, Brandon Jones, Cole Custer, Jeremy Clements, and I believe Daniel Hemrick. I could be wrong on that. It might not have been Hemrick. There was one other driver that stayed out. Maybe it was Sam Mayer. Maybe it was another JRM car. There were 7 of them, though. But they will have to pit. It'll be interesting to see if everybody else stays out or potentially hits pit road as well. I mean, some of those drivers were able to hold on. Obviously, Creed, who didn't pit, saved a set of tires, fell back to 3rd. Austin Hill, who was in 2nd, fell back to 4th. Josh Berry 5th, but they only lost positions to the JGR Toyotas, who looked very, very fast in this race. And even the next highest finishing driver on 4 tires was back at 7th at the end of that first stage, and it was Sammy Smith, another JGR Toyota. He just didn't have enough time to catch up to Jones, Berry, Hill, and Creed. So I think staying out of the pits is good. I just think the JGR cars are so strong in this race that they could probably afford to stay out here. And considering how far back everybody else will restart in the field, assuming that we'll probably see 20-plus cars stay out of the pits here, it's going to be tough for Creed, Hill, Jones, Berry to get back up in contention before the end of stage 2. So they're definitely going to be... The idea was to gain a set of tires going into the final stage if we see a lot of cautions in this race. They could have an extra set of tires for an advantage there, but they would end up having to sacrifice a chance at any sort of stage wins or even more stage points than what they probably could have had if they would have pitted there. Maybe would have had a little bit better of a chance of trying to hold off the 19, 20, and the 18. Truex in his 89th career Xfinity start today, trying to go for his first career Xfinity Series win. 2009 and 2010 ARCA East champion is Truex. His finishes this season: 2nd at Phoenix, 3rd at Atlanta, fell back and finished 12th at Martinsville, Talladega finished 17th. It looks like everybody coming into the pits here, including those that pitted during the Comp Yellow.
Here, and looks like they're bringing everybody else with them. Here they are, Regan.
Adam, the 20 of John Hunter Nemechek needed to be freed up the first run. Still needs a little bit more this run. Said he just can't complete the corner the way that he wants to exit off the corner the way he wants to right now. And the 8 of Josh Berry, his car started tight, continued to get more tight as the run went on. He was guarding against the right front tire just a little bit at the end, Josh.
Well, the biggest concern for your stage one winner, Ryan Truex, is that he's starting to lose grip in turns 3 and 4. Remember, he already came in and got a set of tires, getting tires once again, and then moving on to the 2 on Sheldon Creed. He had that damage on the nose, and they're going to tape that up because he's starting to get tighter and tighter towards the end of the run.
Ryan Truex will win the race out of the pits very easily. Austin Hill gains 2 spots to come out second. Nemechek lost 1 to come out in third. And that was the top 3 leaving the pits following the stage 1 break. Thought there was a potential chance that they were going to radio up Ryan Truex there, but they did not. Waiting for our leaderboard to reorganize as they'll get lined up for the restart here in a couple more laps. Ryan Truex looking like the quickest car in the field in the early going. He may have to defend off of his teammates who have gotten a little bit better track position. John Hunter Nemechek, of course, in 4th, got the 2nd for the end of the last stage, and then again, Sammy Smith, who started 28th, finished 7th in the first stage, which was only 45 laps, and we had even less green flag laps than that with the Comp Yellow at lap 20, as well as the early spin from Jeremy Clements. He probably had right around 35 laps or so to go from 28th to 8th, to 7th rather, and Sammy Smith looks like he'll be in about 7th place for this next restart as well. I don't think our leaderboard is still up to date here because it looks like Kyle Weatherman in the 02 car has scored our leader right now. I think he might have stayed out so he could pit by himself, as well as potentially Stephen Parsons. Weatherman filling in for Blaine Perkins, who had a nasty barrel roll. Flipped 6 times down the back straightaway last week in the Xfinity race at Talladega. Well wishes are with Blaine Perkins, who is not racing this afternoon. We wish him a speedy recovery. I assume still feeling the effects of that crash from last week. Not sure if he was scheduled to race today or not. Kyle Weatherman has made a start or 2 in that Xfinity Series 02 car for Our Motorsports this season, but regardless of the fact he is in the car this weekend, whether he was scheduled to or not. And it looks like he may have stayed out of the pits, which I believe he's the only driver that would have stayed out, so Weatherman leading. Yeah, because he's led the last 2 laps now, so I think he will be the leader on the restart, which may stack up any lane who restarts behind him with Weatherman being on older tires. About 21 lap older tires than the rest of the field. So he'll save a set. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it on fuel to the end of this stage. Actually, he probably will, because they would have won 21. The fuel window is about 85 to 90 laps. 45, yeah, so he'll definitely be able to make it on fuel. But I don't know if those tires are going to hold up for a full 45 laps either. Maybe they're banking on another caution coming out in this stage, but not sure where he was running before that. No, he was well outside the top 20, and it may be a little cause for concern restarting on the top or bottom behind him. We've seen the front row car restart on the top every time, or the Choose car that was the leader when the cautions have come out, or the initial start of the race even, take the top. Only one of those 3 restarts, though, where we actually saw them take the lead from the outside. Riley Herbst coming back onto pit road.
Trying to address this, and a rough start to the day for the 98. Remember, they also got a penalty earlier for speeding on pit road, guys.
Yeah, he gets the speeding penalty, and he wasn't the only one making stops here at the end of the opening stage. 31 of Parker Retzloff also got a speeding penalty, so lots of adversities to overcome. There's an interested onlooker, Eric Almirola, checking out the action. Sitting on the, I guess he's on the Cole Custer box, maybe?
I think he's on Riley's box.
Was it Riley's?
Richard Boswell.
Oh, it was Richard, yeah, that was.
See them, they try to tape up the
NASCAR's
root patch
making
here,
cut that
so
tape.
it doesn't fly up, and then NASCAR's making them cut it, which I don't know if the tape's going to do anything if it's cut. So their root patch issues may continue.
Kyle Weatherman.
So it sounds like a root patch issue causing Herbst to come back onto pit road. Had a speeding penalty back in stage 1 as well. And as you heard, Parker Retzlaff had a speeding penalty, so he'll be at the tail end of the field for this upcoming restart. Ryan Truex on the inside of row 1. Weatherman on the outside of the first row. Green flag back in the air. Weatherman gets a good launch on the top despite being on older tires. He cannot clear the 19, and the 19 will in fact clear him in the middle of 1 and 2. As the 20 and the 21 try to split around Weatherman quickly. Nemechek gets boxed in off the exit of the corner. Weatherman going to give him a little bit of room, though, in the backstretch as Nemechek will pass him on the outside, it looks like, into 3 and 4. Top 2 cars quickly getting away of Ryan Truex and Austin Hill. Nemechek is clear off turn 4. Weatherman just trying to hold on for all he can right now. First time we've seen Justin Allgaier in the top 10 today. He is now battling Sammy Smith for 5th on track. It'll be for 4th once they get by the 0-2. But obviously with them battling each other right now, they're not really able to do so. Sammy Smith slips up a little bit off the bottom. Chandler Smith got to quickly take up the inside lane from Sammy Smith. They'll be side by side as Allgaier remains in 5th. Allgaier ran a very good race at Dover last year. Battled Josh Berry, really the only competitive car to battle the 8 car throughout last year's Dover event for the Xfinity Series. Replay on that restart showing Brandon Jones getting way up out of the groove as he overdrove turns 1 and 2 on the outside lane, got up into the marbles and fell from inside the top 10, now back to 17th. Tough break there for the 9 car Brandon Jones, who has had an absolutely abysmal season to start in his first year with Junior Motorsports with the number 9. Taking over for Gregson, who moved up to the Cup Series, driving the Petty GMS, the Legacy Motor Club 42 car full-time in his rookie season there. Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer both passing Daniel Hemrick through turns 1 and 2. That will drop Hemrick outside the top 10 now to 12th place. And Ryan Truex holds a 1.1 second lead over Austin Hill, who is in 2nd place. John Hunter Nemechek is in 3rd, 2.6 seconds off the lead. Kyle Weatherman in 4th place, 3.5 seconds off the lead. Justin Allgaier is in 5th, 3.9 seconds back. Sammy Smith is in 6th, 4.1 seconds back. Chandler Smith is 7th, 4.6 back. Cole Custer in 8th place. He was my win pick today. He is 4.8 seconds off the lead. Josh Berry in 9th, 4.9 seconds off the lead. And Sheldon Creed in 10th, 5.5 seconds off the race lead. Creed lost quite a few spots on pit road. He was 3rd at the end of stage 1, but actually restarted outside the top 5. Tight battle between the 3 cars of Chandler Smith, Cole Custer, and Josh Berry on the racetrack. 7th through 9th place is where those 3 cars run. Just over 5 seconds off the lead already as Ryan Truex still looking like the quickest car in the field in the early going of stage 2. 15 laps into the second stage, 30 to go. Berry to the inside of Custer into turns 3 and 4. They'll be battling side by side now in the middle going of stage 2. Not quite going to be able to hold on there. Sammy Smith with a slide job to get by Kyle Weatherman finally. Weatherman still at 6th. Holding on a little bit. Not sure how much longer he'll be able to stay in the top 10. Doing maybe a little better than what I would have expected, though, so far in the restart. It does help him that the cars in 7th on back behind him continue to battle for position. Cole Custer again to the inside of Chandler Smith, but he can't actually make the pass on him. Josh Berry trying to go to the outside lane, but that's going to open up the bottom now for Sam Mayer as he tries to take the spot from his Junior Motorsport teammate. They'll be side by side off turn 2 for about 9th. Berry got a good run off the outside, though, on the exit of the corner. Holds quickly back to the bottom now to make sure Mayer doesn't get back underneath him. Mayer slides the rear tires, and Creed gets into the left rear of Mayer now on the backstretch. Front stretch, rather. Off of turn 4. Mayer slipped up a little bit. Creed saw the small window, forced his way in there, and battles back into 10th past Mayer. Great job by Mayer holding on to the race car. Caution. Lap 19 of stage 2. Hard impact for Parker Kligerman, as he has crunched the front of his race car, maybe head on into the inside wall. We'll take a look at the replay. See what exactly happened to Parker. Tough break after starting on the pole today. Parker Kligerman is around. He was just outside the top 10. He came in inside the cutoff line for the playoffs into the race today. He was in 18th place, battling with the 24 car of Corey Heim. Runs full-time in the Truck Series this season. And it looked like there was definitely contact between the two cars. I think, hard hit. Head on into the inside wall. Then he also compacted the rear of the race car after the fact. It definitely looked like Heim had gotten into the 48 of Kligerman there and just turned him off the exit of the corner. Obviously not intentional, but big mistake there from Corey Heim, just not giving the 48 car enough room and hooked him. Hard impact for Kligerman and a tough break as he pounds the roof of his race car in frustration. Kligerman's day is going to come to an end. Not a great run going for Kligerman today, but it's obviously going to cost him a lot of points as he waits for the 24 car to come by. Not sure what Parker's going to do here. And the old bird, left-handed too. The old one-finger salute off the left hand from Parker Kligerman, showing his displeasure to the 24 of Corey Heim. Making a one-off Xfinity start today. We'll probably see him in that car with that team throughout more races in the Xfinity Series this season, but definitely a rookie error there from Heim. And that will be our fourth caution of the race today. We have the Jeremy Clement spin on lap number 6. Top yellow at lap 20. Stage 1 break at lap 45. And on lap 62, Parker Kligerman goes for a spin off of turn 2, off the front bumper of Corey Heim, who turned him hanging on that left rear corner panel as they battled for 18th place on the racetrack. But again, that's a tough hit to Parker Kligerman in the point standings. We'll actually take a look at what the Xfinity Series standings were coming into this race today, as we did not get to that during our pre-race. Austin Hill, still the regular season points leader, but only by 4 points over John Hunter Nemechek, and they finished in second and fourth. So coming into the second stage, as of right now, Hill would have a 2-point lead over Nemechek. And we'll see where that will vary at the end of Stage 2. Chandler Smith is very close to those guys still. Only 19 points back for Colleague Racing to stand out for that team this year. Riley Herbst, his fourth great consistent year going for himself, although having some mechanical issues, well, not really mechanical issues, but bodywork issues with the roof hatch popping open. They ended up having to take that shut. I don't think he is on the lead lap now, unfortunately. Tough break for Riley Herbst, but hoping to stay in there, still winless on the year. All 4 JRM cars still winless this season. Highest in the points of them, Josh Berry in 5th. 36 points off the lead. Allgaier behind him in 6th. Cole Custer is 7th. He hasn't had a great start to the year, but he did pick up a little bit in these last couple races. He led 10 laps today, which have now given him 100 laps led on the season total. Sheldon Creed still in the top 10 in points. Sammy Smith, of course, with a win this year. The drivers who are locked into the Xfinity playoffs with wins. Austin Hill has 3 wins. John Hunter Nemechek has 2. Chandler Smith has 1. Sammy Smith has 1. And then Jeb Burton just won a race last weekend. Burton actually below 12th. Only 12 drivers qualify for the Xfinity playoffs. He is outside the top 12, but the win will guarantee him a spot in the playoffs. So we have currently 5 drivers locked in. 7 spots still remaining. And obviously, if we get more than 12 different winners, then I guess it would have to go to 2 wins. But as of right now, Jeb Burton would be in. That was his only top 10 finish of the season, was that win last week at Talladega. It's very strange that he has had no top 10s, but is 13th in points up until that race last weekend. It just goes to show he's kind of consistently finishing just outside the top 10 throughout most of this year. Probably getting some stage points along the way off of strategy calls as well, because he hasn't had a whole lot of speed this season. Braden Jones, we mentioned, still outside the cutoff line. He's 23 points behind Parker Kligerman. Kligerman had the last spot coming into the day. Sam Mayer was only 10 points. Yeah, Sam Mayer was only 10 points behind. That is a very, very tough break for Kligerman. He did not need this to happen. And going to need a quick recovery as we go into the upcoming races. Robert Perkle, thanks for tuning in. Corey Freet, welcome into the stream also. And again, for those of you that haven't done so already, be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, live race commentary streams every weekend for the NASCAR Truck Xfinity and Cup Series. Truck Series off this weekend. Obviously, we have our Xfinity race going on right now, and Cup Series live stream for tomorrow's race will start at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That race will be on Fox Sports 1 this weekend, only the second race on FS1 for the Cup Series this year, but you guys will get to, obviously, actually the third race, rather, on FS1 this year for the Cup Series. You guys will get to listen into that right here on KRC. 1 to go signal given this time for the Xfinity Series field. Ryan Truex will take the top side of row 1. Austin Hill on the inside of row 1. Row 2 will be Justin Allgaier and John Hunter Nemechek. Chandler Smith and Sammy Smith in row 3. Another restart upcoming after a fourth caution of the race in these first 70 laps. And we will have exactly 21 laps to go in Stage 2 and we go green just as we did after the Cop Yellow back in Stage 1. A little bit more cleanup, obviously, with this wreck, with it actually being a wreck, rather than a Cop Yellow bringing out the caution. Quite a bit of damage on the 48 from Kligerman. If we get an interview from him, you guys will get to listen in. We obviously saw some of his frustration already as he gave the bird to the 24 of Corey Heim, who had turned him off of turn 2. Obviously, it wasn't on purpose, but a big, big mistake there from Corey Heim, and it cost the driver who is running for points in the series, and again was just inside the cutoff line for the playoffs coming into this race after a great start to the year, that 48 car for Kligerman. Car was ran by some part-time drivers last season. Quite a few Cup regulars that ran that car. I know Tyler Reddick was running that car. Jade Buford was in there at times last season as well, but Kligerman definitely getting the most out of that equipment so far this year. Green flag back in the air. Truex and Hill lead the field to the green. Truex got a nice push from behind as they went across the start-finish line. Tries to pull to the bottom, barely clears the 21 of Austin. Hill still sticking his nose to the inside as they'll be 2x2 off of turn 2 down the backstretch. Hill half a car length in on the bottom, slides the rear tires as he almost makes contact with Truex, and Truex finally clears him off turn 4 with 20 to go in Stage 2. Allgaier settling into 4th place as well behind Nemechek. And Smith rounds out the top 5. Chandler Smith, that is, not Sammy Smith. We got too many Smiths. We only have 2 of them, but they're both very competitive on a weekly basis, so I have to specify which Smith it is. Justin Allgaier to the inside of John Hunter Nemechek for 3rd. Only JRM car in the top 5, really in the top 8. You have to go back to 9th to find Josh Berry and then Sam Mayer right behind him. Allgaier couldn't hang on to the inside of Nemechek off turn 2. Nemechek pulls clear once again. A 6/10 of a second lead for Ryan Truex over Austin Hill, currently with 18 to go now in Stage 2.
And before that, I mentioned 2015, Regan won in the 7. So this is a group with a 7 on the door that's been very, very competitive. 9 consecutive top 10s at Dover for Justin. And in fact, you go back, and this is what I'm talking about. Since he came back to Junior Motorsports, he is Mr. Monster Mile. The 2 wins, all the top 5s. And the average finish in a track where you have 1 slip-up and you finish 35th and out of the race, 3.4 average is remarkable.
That's great. It just tells me that he really understands what he needs out of his race car to go faster. He's able to communicate it to his crew chief. They build a car around Justin Allgaier, around the driver, what he needs in the car. And then Justin does a great job at managing his race car, right? We've seen so many times here at Dover, your car's balance starts going one direction, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse if you cannot adjust as a driver. So, meaning if your car is loose, it's going to keep getting freer if you cannot figure a way to adjust it. Or if it's tight, same thing, it'll keep getting tighter as you go.
Sam Mayer to 9th, getting by his teammate Josh Berry. Regan.
Adam, the day started out so promising for Parker Kligerman, starting on the pole. Unfortunately, you're the first car out of the race. We saw the displeasure he expressed on the racetrack. How tough is this one to take?
Yeah, it hurts because what was on offer, right? right? The opportunity here today, Regan, it just, we weren't good. You know, I think we were in that position because we were going backwards, we were struggling, but Patrick Donnie and everyone was going to work on this thing, and it seemed like one of those days where we were just going to really have to find a way, right, to get better and keep working on our spike force Camaro and go for this opportunity $100,000 because I looked and none of our competitors are having enough good of a day either. It wasn't like they're lights out. So we could have worked on it and been there at the end. Hopefully we could have had a big day, and obviously the points just hurts a ton. But, you know, I just hate it because when we were hurting, the driver got into us, like, you can see we're struggling. You know, give me a quarter. Give me a quarter. We'll gather it up. You can go by. But just wasn't the case. You know what? We'll be better next time. That's the best thing we can do. Thanks, Parker.
He mentioned the points. Parker came in on the playoff bubble, 10 above the cut line, 10 in front of Sam Mayer, who's having a pretty decent day. So that's something we'll keep an eye on as the afternoon continues. It reminds me a little bit of last week at Talladega. Dash for cash. It's like no one wanted the money. They were all crashing out and getting eliminated. Parker is out of the race. Custer leading the way, going for the $100,000. He's top 5, Creed is 7. Jeff Burton is 12th right now.
Yeah, you see the same thing with the Dash for Cash guys, right? And sometimes it's just how it works. Sometimes the extra pressure affects teams in different ways. Sometimes it makes them better. Sometimes it makes them crack. But here's the deal with this guys. This guy showed up here today with no practice. Didn't get to tune on their cars or anything like that. So you got to give them a little bit of grace on the overall balance of their cars right now.
Raja Karu, 22nd. Second time he's been to Dover in an Xfinity car. Busy time of year for him. Racing next Saturday night on FS1 in the Craftsman Truck Series, going to Kansas. Running full-time for GMS over there.
You can see that rubber line building there, and it's so key. If you can keep your left front right against the edge of that asphalt, it sometimes rotates you on around the corner, kind of pulls you around the corner. Joey, what's your favorite line around Dover?
You're asking the guy that's never won here in anything besides an Xfinity car, but an Xfinity car, I always was a big fan of wrapping the bottom. Cars don't have as much horsepower. You can't. It's not like if you go up the racetrack and come back down, you don't have a bunch of power to hook back up, so you don't get the full reward of the diamond lane. So I was always a big fan of wrapping the bottom right underneath the rubber, like you're talking about, Austin. It seemed like I was able to get all that speed through the center, and then make sure your car turns when I call it the 2/3, right here where Herbst is. That's where your car's got to really finish the turn and come up out of that hole. If you start getting tight before that, you got to make big lifts, you lose all that momentum down the straightaway.
And you talk about coming up out of that hole. When you come up out of there, your car has that big swing moment. It's not fun. You want it to be locked in there so you can really smash the gas and stay in it when you leave.
Yeah, that's why you want the turning done before. Yeah, you see Riley's going to try to get around the bottom underneath the Weatherman here. It's still on those old tires, but he's still hanging pretty strong.
This is the Ford Performance onboard camera. Herbst trying to get back to the top 20 after multiple pit stops and that speeding penalty. Ryan Truex
Look how
working
fast
the
he
lap
is.
traffic.
Over the lap cars, just seconds quicker. When you see a closer rate like that, he is multiple seconds quicker in those cars.
I mentioned earlier that Truex had led in only 8 races in his career, 47 laps out front today. And he had led 67 laps in his career in the first 88 starts he had made in Xfinity competition. Career afternoon. The driver out of New Jersey calls this racetrack home and trying to do something his brother Martin did here on the Cup side, and that's get your first career victory. Today would be the first time he pulled into victory lane. It's early, but he has made himself the favorite.
He's catching these lap cars at such a high pace, they don't know which direction to go.
They can't get out of his way quick enough as fast as Ryan Truex is right now around this racetrack.
Sheldon's fought back to 7th place, but I really think the damage on the front end of his car has kind of put him where he's at. You know, his car had so much speed earlier, and I don't think they've completely fixed it. I think at this break they really need to work on it, try and get that front end fixed, and maybe he can show something later in this race.
But you know what? He's getting those stage points and in position to do it again. You know, last year he entered this race 45 points below the cut line. Today he comes in nearly 40 above. That's like a better than 2 race improvement over last year. So they've done a lot of positive things this season, and even though they had the problem where they got the damage, they're fighting through it and salvaging a very solid day and not out of the game yet. 3 to go, stage 2.
You see, Ryan Truex is just waxing the field right now. He is, 3.5 seconds in front of Austin Hill right now. It's just incredible the pace that he's carrying, even through that traffic. He's getting after it.
Now, quick reminder with Ryan Truex, not only he has a 4-second race lead already, but he opened up a 4-second gap over Austin Hill in just 19 green flag laps so far since the last restart in the middle of Stage 2. We're down to the final lap of the stage at the start-finish line that time by. Truex will easily sweep the stages here today at Dover. He's about to put the 6-car Brendan Poole a lap down. Poole will be in the free pass position, though, to the end of the stage as long as Truex doesn't pass another car through turns 3 and 4. He will not. And he'll make his way off the corner. Ryan Truex will win Stage 2 at Dover. Dominating race for that 19 car. Clearly the class of the field. Austin Hill, long ways back, will end up finishing at second. John Hunter Nemechek third. Justin Allgaier in fourth. And Cole Custer will round out the top 5 in the second stage. Chandler Smith will end up 6th, Sheldon Creed 7th, Sammy Smith 8th, Sam Mayer 9th, and Josh Berry will round out the top 10, all receiving stage points in our second stage today. 110 laps of the final stage. Everybody will be pitting during this stage break when FS1 comes back from the commercial break. We'll take a break here ourselves as well as you're watching the A-Game 200 from Dover Motor Speedway live on KRC. There will be 27 cars on the lead lap when we get back to racing here in this final stage. Gotta minimize any mistakes on pit road here. Pit crew has to stay on top of it as they've done a great job so far in that 19 team, and it will be their race to win. Truex has already led 55 laps of the 90 so far. Mind you, he also didn't even start at the front of the field like Cole Custer and Sheldon Creed did, who led a wide majority of the beginning of this race. This is our 5th caution of the day with the stage break coming out. Still about half the race remaining. Now, as we're at the end of Stage 2, I'll actually wait till after pit stops, but we will have our diecast showing here for Stage number 2. So we will have the Stage 2 diecast showing here coming up very, very shortly. Once we get through pit stops and you guys listen into the pit reports. Gonna look up real quick just to make sure Ryan Truex hasn't won a stage this year. I believe both of them were his first 2 of the season. I don't know if it's gonna show him in points at all here. 21st, yeah, first 2 stage wins of the season for Ryan Truex. As expected. Appreciate all of you tuning in here today. There's no commentary for last week's Xfinity and Cup races at Talladega, with me being at the track. Second straight week the Truck Series has been off. They have not raced since Martinsville. Dirt Bristol. Would have been their last race that they have ran. But they will be back at Kansas next week when the Xfinity Series will have off. And they'll actually be running back-to-back weeks because they'll run there, and then they'll also run at Darlington the week after. And North Wilkesboro after Darlington. So then Charlotte. So I believe actually the Truck Series is going to be racing for about 4 weeks consecutively after their off week this week. I usually see the Truck Series run that many consecutive weeks, but we will here shortly over the next month.
You didn't discriminate. You said, you know what, if I sweep the season for Joe Gibbs Racing, and now I'm going to Team Penske, I'll get a sweep for them as well.
I had to prove it wasn't just the car. As a driver, you got to prove both sides.
Did you start on the pole in all 4 of those, too? Or is that, did I make that up?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
It was a pretty dominant little couple years there.
Reason I asked.
I haven't been able to get a ride to drive one since. I don't understand.
If there were stages then, you would have swept the stages. That's why that stat is the way it is.
It's been that long since I've raced here.
Pit road is open, and everybody going to pit here, no doubt. Get ready for that long run that We'll get in the final stage. Ryan Truex leads him down. Look at his advantage pulling in. That's got to be a good thing as he makes the pit stop. Here they are, Regan.
Out of the 20, John Hunter Nemechek still struggling to get that car exactly like he wants. The middle continues to be the problem. He can't go back to the throttle the way he wants to because he gets a little bit tight through the middle. And the 0-0 Cole Custer, his race car's solid. He likes where it's at after the run and gets into a few laps. Problem is it starts off just a little bit too loose for him with the back sliding around. Josh?
Well, the 19 of Brian Truex's stage 1 and 2 winner said that's the best his car's fired up all day. They're going to get 4 tires, but he didn't want anything done to change that car. And in terms of the 21 of Austin Hill, he's getting tight towards the end of that run. He said it was getting edgy into 3, so they made an air pressure adjustment to help him out.
I think it's a good call by Ryan. I wouldn't want any changes either, but he does not win the race off pit road. That goes to Austin Hill, who has that number 1 pit stall. What an advantage that is for driver 21. Truex is second. Nemechek holds his spot in third. Custer and Chandler Smith both +1.
Hey, Ryan Truex, non-junior. How's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Man, you guys are waxing them out there today. What are you loving about that 19 car?
Yeah, it's been pretty fun so far. Yeah, the old Toyota accessories, GR Super's been fast. These guys did a great job. Man, I just love this racetrack. So happy to be back here and being such a great car, such a great team. Just having fun, trying to keep up with the racetrack and make sure we can be good here at the end.
Well, keep up the good work. Nothing like home, man. Try and get here to the finish. We'll be watching and cheering you on in the booth.
Appreciate it.
Home game for Ryan Truex, and he has delivered so far, winning stage 1 and stage 2. He'll be second as we begin the final stage. 13 drivers have picked up their first career win here.
Well, there you have it. That was Ryan Truex that they talked to moments ago. He has swept the stages already today. By far, he has led the most laps and looks to have the most dominant car. He did not win the race off pit road that time. Austin Hill actually did. Hill has the number 1 pit box this weekend at the front of pit road. I should say mainly towards the exit of pit road, but Truex had a pretty decent-sized gap over him with the amount of lap cars between the top 2 as well. So it was a very fast stop by Austin Hill, maybe a little slower on the 19. We'll see how quickly Truex will be able to potentially get around Hill. Very sporty in the early going of this one. It'll also be interesting if Austin Hill will take the top or the bottom for the front row in this upcoming restart. We've only seen drivers take the top, but it's been split for the most part, kind of 50-50 on whether the top or the bottom car has taken the lead. I think it's 3-3 right now. So you can't really blame them for taking the top or the bottom because we've seen it work equally as much in both lanes. And I will say Sheldon Creed, who had taken the lead on the bottom earlier in the race, actually did that twice, so maybe the RCR cars can fire off a little better on the inside lane. See if that's going to make a difference or not. Richard G. Lynch, thanks for tuning in. Parker Kligerman had wrecked, unfortunately. Got turned by Corey Heim off of turn 2. Hit head on into the inside wall. Hard impact. His day is done. Brett Whiteside, thanks for tuning in. Regine Huddleston, thanks for watching. So we'll get back to green flag racing here shortly. Here's the diecast showing at the end of stage 2. We saw Burton win in the Xfinity Series last week at Talladega. Jeff Burton got his first career win. Of course, the nephew of Jeff Burton and the son of Ward Burton. Because of that, we have a Jeff Burton diecast for you guys for today's showing. Our first Jeff Burton diecast showing of the season. It is a pretty nice looking singular wireless 31 car for Richard Childress Racing. Of course, there's an RCR car leading right now, so there's a lot of reasons to show this car off here today. Very clean paint scheme. Probably the best looking orange paint scheme in NASCAR history. Potentially. I'd say it's definitely up there. It's very bright, vibrant. I remember when I bought this diecast, can't remember exactly what track, but I remember buying it and I was like, man, that car looks like clean. Like it just looked extra shiny. I don't know what it is about the diecast itself, but it looks like a lot brighter than a lot of the other diecasts. Obviously, the fluorescent orange maybe makes it pop a little bit better, but the yeah, definitely a pretty cool one. I actually have 3 Jeff Burton diecasts, believe it or not, but this is definitely one of them, and worth the showing for this weekend. So, Singular Wireless 31. I think this is from 2006, I do believe. I think this diecast from 06. He had a couple of nice schemes. He also had a really nice, like, blue lightning-looking paint scheme. I think that might have been Singular Wireless as well. Also, I actually forgot, but the autograph is on the windshield of this card, too. I actually completely forgot this was one of the diecasts I had autographed. I didn't actually get it autographed by Jeff Burton in person. It was already autographed when I had bought it. I think it's one of, like, maybe 3 or 4 diecasts I have autographed. I have that one, Harvick's 2001 rookie card. That one's autographed. Elliott Sadler 19 Best Buy car I have is autographed. And is the Johnny Sauter car I have diecast? Is that diecast? It might be the Johnny Sauter AOL car. That one might be signed as well. I think that's the only other one I have that's signed. I could be wrong on that. Might just be the 3. Austin Hill did take the top, by the way. Ryan Truex will be on the inside. Looks like 07 Degas scheme. I mean, he might have ran that scheme that year too, but I think this diecast specifically is from 2006. I'm pretty sure that's what was on the box. David Beebe, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully I said your last name correctly as well. They'll be going green this time by... Actually, they have already gone green. I didn't realize I had a little bit of a lag during the commercial break. Yeah, green flag back in the air. Austin Hill, Ryan Truex again on the front row. Row 2 is Cole Custer and John Hunter Nemechek. And Austin Hill quickly clears on the top. Both the JGR cars of the 20 and the 19 side by side down the back straightaway right now between Nemechek and Truex. Truex is on the bottom. Nemechek up high. Nemechek crowds the 19 who slides a little bit off the bottom. They almost made contact. And Nemechek is going to be cleared for second now as Truex falls right back into line again. And Austin Hill over half a second clear. We'll see how long he can hail on to the race lead. Both JGR cars have been very quick. Obviously, Ryan Truex has been the fastest of them, but John Hunter Nemechek's had a pretty good top 3 car as well. Sheldon Creed's 3 wide middle into turn 3 with Sammy Smith and Justin Allgaier. He got into him. Creed sideways in the middle of the corner. His car split around him. And he saves it, and everybody misses him. Wow, crazy moment there. Sheldon Creed goes sideways. He was 3 wide in the middle, got tagged in the left rear. Made a great save, and somehow everybody missed him in the center of the corner. It was Sammy Smith who had made contact with the 2. He was crowded quite a bit. There wasn't really much room for Creed to really go anywhere there. He was just kind of in harm's way, really. Almost skimmed Allgaier to the outside when he started sliding up the banking. As he started coming back down, it cleared up the outside for more cars to be able to miss him. Seen a lot of slides today. Luckily, we haven't seen really anybody make contact with another car mid-slide. And that definitely would have been the one to do it right there. But it was not. And that was just a product of 3 wide at Dover. It just doesn't work. I mean, it didn't really look... I mean, they were crowded going into the corner, but it didn't look like anybody really did anything out of the ordinary or overdrove the car. Maybe you could probably say Sammy Smith couldn't have went 3 wide to the bottom, but he was already there probably more than halfway down the backstretch. So, I mean, they obviously knew they were all 3 wide. It's just such a tight racetrack. It widens out quite a bit in the corner, but it narrows up so much by the exit that everybody was just fighting for position. So hard going in. But a great job by not only everybody missing Sheldon Creed, but keeping from running into each other as well. Tristan Drift 1, thanks for tuning in. Richard G. Lynch, also welcome to the stream. Might have already shouted you out. There's a lot of you guys here. Appreciate that. Creed is on to pit road. A lot of standing water in his pit box.
If it runs green, green from here. Maybe he could save enough under green to not have to pit if it runs green. Probably not going to happen, though.
And I tell you what changed his day is that damage right there you see on the front end. That's a big gaping hole there, and they didn't get it fixed. And it's tough, man. You're trying not to give up track position, but
That's a big hole.
yeah, maybe right here they can fix it since they're going to the tail.
They're going to fix it right this time. They got the time to do it, nothing to lose. If it's on, they're good.
Did we tell you it rained here yesterday? Did you see all the water that was standing in and around the pit box when the crew was getting ready to go over? That's got to be a bit of a distraction when you're, I mean, not in this situation really, but if you're coming down for that money stop, that could be something that creates a hiccup for one of these teams.
These guys are so aggressive pitting the car now, right?
Look
If
at
the
that.
bottom of your shoes are a little wet, you jump off the wall, you're going to go for a slide.
A little soggy feet.
Pretty sure concrete's not that soft.
Let's get a little Justin Allgaier radio.
I didn't need to do anything different there, did I? I mean, I don't think I did, but you'll have to be the judge. No. The two needed to cover the bottom, not let DT in there. You left the door open. DT was aggressive, as you might expect.
Yeah, I'm not putting this on Justin Allgaier
Nope.
in any way.
I don't put it on anybody,
It's
really.
three wide, it's going to be tight no matter what. You know, everyone's got to give a little bit. He's on the outside. I mean, he did squeeze him quite a bit, but he's already three wide. The track's only so wide, right? And that's kind of a narrow entry. You can't enter much higher than where Justin was at already.
And he took
Just
the risk.
racing.
He took the risk himself to stay there, right? I mean, the two could have slid into him and took him with him. He was
Right.
he was taking a pretty good risk.
They all were just hoping that somebody left it.
200 laps today, 400 tomorrow. NASCAR's Top Shelf racing for the 11th time, 2023 pre-race coverage. By the way, make a note of this. Moved up to noon. We're racing at 1 right here on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Joey starting 26th. Austin coming shotgun on the field in the backup. And Josh Berry going to be driving the 48 tomorrow for the injured Alex Bowman. Alex injured in a sprint car crash this week. Alex, we're thinking about you. Get well soon. We hope to see you back at the track. And it'll be the second stint for Josh Berry in a cup car this year because, of course, he drove that 9 car with Chase Elliott in the broken leg earlier in the season.
We got our work cut out for us tomorrow, Austin.
Oh.
We are starting in the weeds.
Let me
Not
tell
where you
you.
want to be. We didn't even speed and we're in the weeds. We didn't speed enough. That's what the problem was. We didn't go fast
The
enough.
monster bit me early this morning. I guess I was just a little too confident she didn't have enough grip for my mindset.
Just pretend that you were going to get a speeding penalty in the opening set of stops. And now you're ahead, actually. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
okay.
Well,
I was just hoping we qualified today, you know? I just really needed qualifying to happen. We got sunned out. Instead of rained out.
I didn't gain or lose anything.
It was bizarre here, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Had a little mist after practice and with the Xfinity race, and the weather forecast hasn't been unbelievable this weekend, and so NASCAR said we're going to wash out cup qualifying, and at least you guys got a little track time, which could help tomorrow. I know Austin, of course, you're in that backup, so that'll be tough.
Little is an exaggeration. 1 lap.
Front row, Austin Hill, John Hunter Nemechek. Hill goes outside. We'll see if he gets that wicked launch again.
Green flag back in the air with about 94 laps to go in today's Xfinity race at Dover. Austin Hill side by side into the first turn with John Hunter Nemechek. Door to door for the race lead. Ryan Truex on the outside trying to battle for second place as well. As he gets to the outside of the 20. May be able to get a good drive off of turn 4 to get back to second, which he lost, obviously, on that last restart. But with the quick caution after the Sheldon Creed spin, he's going to get the spot right back. Austin Hill continues to lead this race after winning the race off of pit road during the Stage 2 pit stops during that break. Hill won 3 of the first 5 races this year, Daytona, Las Vegas, and Atlanta. 6 top 10s on the season so far in total for him, and is the regular season points leader. He's had a good points day so far, trying to keep that lead over John Hunter Nemechek, who he had just a 4-point advantage over coming into this race. Cole Custer kind of battling back out of seemingly nowhere. He gets to the inside of the 20 car for third, and this is about as fast as we have seen Custer today. Now, he started second, quickly got to the lead on lap 1 on Parker Kligerman, who started on the pole. Led the first 10 laps and then ended up losing the lead very shortly thereafter to the two of Sheldon Creed, and then obviously Ryan Truex is able to get to the lead in the final laps of the first stage. He has led most of the time since. He is all over the back of the 21 of Austin Hill right now, that being Ryan Truex in the 19. So we have a battle for the lead and a separate battle behind them, about a second back for third between the 20 and the 00. All cars riding around the bottom. Justin Allgaier in fifth now, also closing the gap on the 00 for fourth, making it a three-car battle for third. Truex a half a lane wider in the middle of the corner. Just trying to run a bit different line so he's not stuck in the dirty air bubble behind the 21. Into turns 3 and 4. Truex dives it a lot lower that time. Hill slides up the racetrack. The 19 is there, and they're side by side for the race lead off turn 4. Truex side drafts the left rear corner panel on the 21 of Hill. Dive bombs into 1 and 2. Wiggles a bit. Almost makes contact with the 21. Hill goes way up out of the groove, almost into the wall, and Truex leads. I don't think they've made contact with one another, but it was very close. And Ryan Truex, nonetheless, is in the lead. With the slide job maneuver, he's led 57 of 111 completed laps so far, just over half the race. And will continue to lead now for the third different time today as we run with just less than 90 laps to go. 88 left to be exact here in this one. Full field rundown right now. Ryan Truex leads by 0.8 of a second quickly over Austin Hill, who is in second. John Hunter Nemechek is third. Cole Custer fourth. Justin Allgaier is fifth. Sammy Smith in sixth. Daniel Hemrick in seventh. Josh Berry 8th. Brandon Jones 9th. And Sam Mayer is 10th. Chandler Smith in 11th. Riley Herbst in 12th. Jeb Burton 13th. Derek Krause 14th. Brett Moffitt 15th. Kaz Grella 16th, Kyle Weatherman 17th, Ryan Sieg 18th, Jeremy Clements 19th, and Sheldon Creed actually is now 19th. Jeremy Clements falls back to 20th. Parker Retzlaff in 21st, Corey Heim 22nd, Joe Graff Jr. 23rd, Raja Carruth 24th, Brendan Poole 25th, Josh Williams is 26th, Timmy Hill 27th, Jeffrey Earnhardt 28th, Garrett Smithley 29th, and Greg Golding is 30th. Ryan Ellis is the first car lap down in 31st. Kyle Sieg is 32nd. Stephen Parsons is 33rd. 34th place is Patrick Emerly. CJ McLaughlin in 35th. Chad Chastain 36th. And two cars out of the race today. Anthony Alfredo 37th and Parker Kligerman 38th. Flat right front for Anthony Alfredo and that crash off turn 2 for Kligerman after contact from Corey Heim. That is your full field rundown right now with about 85 laps to go in this race. Ryan Truex has just over a 1 second lead again now over Austin Hill. He has been the quickest car in the field today. Lost that lead on pit road and then lost another spot on the restart to start the final stage. That last restart, though, able to get both spots back again. I think restarting on the top might have been a little better than the bottom for the 19 that last time, and he was able to stay a lot closer to the front of the field. Looks like a commercial break coming up on the NASCAR Xfinity Series race, so we will take a quick break ourselves here as they go side by side. You're watching the A-Game 200 at Dover Motor Speedway live on KRC for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Showing a battle on track between the JRM Chevys of Sam Mayer and Brandon Jones as they battle for 9th place. All four Junior Motorsports Chevrolets in the top 5, but none of them in the top 4. Currently running 5th, 7th, 9th, and 10th. And again, that battle for 9th between the number 9 and the number 1. Daniel Hemrick not too far in front of him in 8th place as well. Mayer trying to work the bottom. He got alongside Brandon Jones, but he couldn't actually make the pass. Slipped behind him and now has been stuck behind him for about a full lap or so again. Just about an hour and 15 minutes plus into this race so far, and already just 80 to go. This is one of the shortest Xfinity races of the season. Another short Xfinity race will be their next race at Darlington, which is also only 200 miles, just like this one. Less laps in that race, with it being a slightly larger track. 147 laps will be the scheduled distance at Darlington. 80 here. The Xfinity Series races at Darlington have been very, very good in recent years. And you won't want to miss that live commentary stream in a couple weeks because that will be a thriller. I can pretty much all but guarantee it. Definitely been one of the more fun tracks for the Xfinity Series on that schedule the last handful of years. car smoking on its way to pit road right now. That would be the 44 car of Jeffrey Earnhardt, who has dropped off the pace. He has made his way into the pits, and we continue to stay green with 79 laps to go. Doesn't look like a tire is down on the 44. It looks like a potential mechanical issue. Cole Custer couldn't keep up with Nemechek. He is holding up Justin Allgaier as Nemechek is pulled away from those two cars. And actually, Nemechek reeling in Austin Hill in a battle for second. They're within a little less than a half a second of each other. Allgaier to the inside of Custer now into turns 1 and 2 as they run side by side for third.
Justin Allgaier.
Yeah, I've been watching this battle over the commercial break. Justin Allgaier definitely has a faster car. They're going to use the lap car as a pick, but Cole Custer's going to try to cross him over. He's in there.
I think the 7's got the advantage now, having the outside. Finally made it happen. That was a grind. That was a battle.
It was a grind, and I'm sure Justin Allgaier was like, come on, man, I'm faster. You just let me go. There's a long ways to go in the race. Justin thinks probably at this point he has a chance to at least get up into the top 2 and maybe have a run for Ryan Truex. I think that 7 car is faster than it's shown most of the day.
These are two of the 3 drivers that have won at Dover that are racing today. Custer got it done 2019. A pair of wins for Allgaier in that 7 car for Junior Motorsports, and Josh Berry, the other one here a season ago. He's back behind him in 7th right now. Speaking of Junior Motorsports, all 4 of their cars now inside the top 10 after all 4 finished in the top 5 in this race last year. It's only the 2nd time in series history that had happened. Joe Gibbs Racing did it once. You know, when you come to Dover, there are going to be problems. Eventually, there's going to be some adversity. Something's going to go wrong. Riley Herbst has had a couple of issues today, but he finds himself in 12th, trying to get back on that top 10 train that they have gotten off of the last few weeks. And an update on Sheldon Creed. Led a bunch of laps early, had some debris, extended stop, and then they had the spin, but he's driving his way back toward the front. In fact, if he gets by Jeff Burton, be back inside the top 15.
He's going for that $100,000 too. He's one of the Dash for Cash cars, so being able to get the nose repaired, although he was in the caution and you had to use up a set of tires, he's able to gain up 14 spots.
Creed actually getting by Brett Moffitt put him in the 15th position. Derek Kraus has been driving the Dash for Cash races because Cup drivers cannot run this 10 car. For Team Colleague, and he's done an outstanding job. A couple of top 10s, didn't get the finish he wanted last week in Talladega. Looking pretty good today, 13th. Kyle Larson actually going to drive the 10 car for Colleague in a couple of weeks at Darlington. But Kraus is a driver that had no experience at this level, really has done a good job.
Yeah, he's doing what he needs to do. He needs to get all the laps run. He's running in a good position here, battling with 2 other young guys right here with a little more experience. But I'm really impressed with this 10 team at Colleague. Got to drive it earlier this year. They are a good group with Alex Youngs running there. Chris Rice, they put together good race cars, and they're getting tons of drivers in there. So that's hard for that team. Each week you're having somebody different in there, but they've done a good job to keep themselves toward the front very often.
Top 10 every week so far this year until last week at Talladega. And you mentioned a number of drivers, you and Justin Haley. A.J. Allmendinger won in that car at Circuit of the Americas, and we look forward to seeing Kyle Larson at Darlington. 14 days from now, you can watch a Throwback Saturday right here on FS1.
I love that throwback week. I think it's one of the most fun things to watch. And here's, look at Riley Herbst, Pressure, and Chandler Smith. And that checks him up just enough for Krause. We just talked about him trying to get his nose in there, get a little air on it, sneak it through the center of the corner. And we talk about it all the time. 2/3 point right here. That's where it gets tricky for that guy at the bottom.
We got to step aside. We'll keep you involved in what's happening as we go side by side. Ryan Truex leading with 69 laps to go. He's 2 seconds in front of Austin Hill.
So there you have it. Down to 68 laps left here at the Monster Mile for the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Dover. Side-by-side commercial break going on. Now the lap times between Ryan Truex and Austin Hill, since lap traffic has came about in this final stage, have pretty much even. And in fact, Hill was about 2/10 quicker than Truex that last lap. It is also worth noting we haven't had a green flag run longer than 20 to 25 laps today, so it'll be interesting if Truex, who has had a great car, probably the fastest today, actually can sustain that speed over the course of the long run, as again, just a little bit quicker that last lap was Austin Hill than Ryan Truex. So Hill starting to close into that gap just a little bit. Can Truex and the rest of the GGR Toyotas in the top 10 have good long-run speed, or are they set up solely for the short runs? Everybody will have to pit one more time yet in today's race as well. A little bit of contact is showing on screen between Derek Kraus and Riley Herbst off of turn 4 as they battle just outside the top 10 for 12th place. Derek Kraus has done a great job in that 10 car so far this year. Really, he's been running just as good, if not better, than Daniel Hemrick in that 10 car so far this year. Great job there. Beating on a series champion. Lap car kind of got in the way, potentially, of Herbst being able to pass Derek Kraus again. And Herbst has had a good recovery today after dropping to the back at the start of the race. Had a pit road speeding penalty in the first stage, and then the second stage they were having issues under caution with the roof hatch coming up, so they had to tape that shut. And now all of a sudden Riley Herbst is back in the top dozen and looking to get another top 10 this season. He's been very consistent. Now, he did not get any stage points in either stage today. Going to the back, he came in 32 points out of first in the regular season standings, but he's 4th overall, and he has the most points of any driver without a win in the Xfinity Series this season. Truex a little bit quicker again, though. Those last couple of laps, and Austin Hill maybe starting to get through the lap traffic a bit quicker. It's back to a 3.5 second lead. It was just below 2 seconds right before the last commercial break. Full field running order with 62 laps to go right now. Ryan Truex leads by 3.4 seconds over Austin Hill. Third place is John Hunter Nemechek. Fourth place is Justin Allgaier, and Cole Custer is 5th. Josh Berry in 6th, Sammy Smith 7th, Brandon Jones is 8th, Sam Mayer 9th, and Daniel Hemrick is 10th. Chandler Smith in 11th, Derek Kraus in 12th, Riley Herbst is 13th, Sheldon Creed 14th, and Jeb Burton is 15th. 16th place is Brett Moffitt, Kaz Gralla in 17th, Kyle Weatherman 18th, Ryan Sieg 19th, Jeremy Clements make that Parker Rutzlaff in 20th. Jeremy Clements is 21st. Last car in the lead lap is Corey Hyman 22nd. Joe Graff Jr. in the 38 car is in 23rd. Raja Karuth is 24th. Josh Williams 25th. Brendan Poole 26th. Timmy Hill 27th. Greg Golding 28th. Garrett Smithley 29th. And 30th is Ryan Ellis. Kyle Sieg 31st. Stephen Parsons 32nd. 33rd place is Patrick Emerly. CJ McLaughlin 34th. Chad Chastain 35th. Jeffrey Earnhardt 36th. Anthony Alfredo 37th. And Parker Kligerman 38th today. 3 cars out of the race now, by the way, are the last 3, after Earnhardt had just blown an engine earlier in this final stage. So 35 cars still on the track and 22 in the lead lap. Race analysis so far, average race speed is 95.67 miles per hour, about a little less than an hour and a half of elapsed time into the race today. 6 cautions total with 2 stage breaks. An incident involving Sheldon Creed, obviously with the last accident, the only one in stage 3. Everybody had missed him after he spun in 3 and 4. He was sandwiched 3 wide middle. Had a crash towards the middle portion of stage 2, which took out Parker Kligerman after he got turned by Corey Heim off of turn 2. Hit head on into the inside wall, smacked the rear of the car up pretty good as well. The 2 stage breaks, obviously, again, bringing out a caution. We had a cop yellow where Anthony Alfredo had a flat right front at that time. Fell a bunch of laps down. I think he returned for a little bit, but then pulled back off once Kligerman had pulled out of the race. And then also the 51 spun back on lap 6. Had like a half spin, which brought out a caution similar to Creed's spin in 3 and 4 on the other end of the track in this final stage. Josh Berry going to move into the top 5 almost as he nearly cleared the double zero of Cole Custer. It looked like he was going to be clear off the exit of the second turn, but Custer was able to beat him back to the throttle. Had a pretty good launch and stayed alongside, but can't stay alongside of him again. Berry is now clear and into 5th. Custer got up to 3rd initially on that restart, but now he's just kind of slowly moving backwards. He hasn't been as good on the full longer runs. Ryan Truex, who maybe for a bit looked like he wasn't going to be as good on the long runs. Looked like the middle portion of the run is where he started to struggle a bit. Austin Hill, who was 4.8 seconds off the lead now, just continues to fall back. Similar lap time between the top two cars at last time, but obviously still Ryan Truex overall is quicker. Josh Berry actually was the quickest car on the racetrack the last lap, dropped to 24.755. Race leader Ryan Truex, who had the second fastest lap in the top 10, ran at 25.031. Fastest lap of the day overall has still been ran by Ryan Truex of a 23.423. So we have seen a little over a second and a half worth of tire fall off on these tires, which have been on the car since the start of Stage 3, right around 40 plus green flag laps to this point. And again, everybody will have to pit one more time in today's race, except for potentially Sheldon Creed, who I still think is going to be short on fuel to the finish. But remember that he had actually spun bringing out the last caution. He was one of the only cars, him and then some lap cars, came onto pit road during the caution flag. Creed took tires, topped off on fuel. We went green with a little over 90 laps to go. The fuel window was 85 to 90 laps, so he's still probably going to be short to the end. But he's a lot closer to making it versus everybody else in the field. Will definitely not be able to make it because they're going to have to go over 100 laps of green flag action on fuel, and you're just not going to be able to save 10 laps worth. Even with the caution we have, we only ran a handful, maybe 5 caution laps at the most there, maybe 6. They were going to be 10 to 15 short, so they're definitely not going to be able to save that much gas to make it to the end. Still have 50 laps left in this race, a quarter of the race still to go. Creed has to stay out of trouble, and maybe he can get himself into a good finish. He's had a great rally off this restart as well, as he just passed Daniel Hemrick for, the other colleague car. He passed Chandler Smith, it looks like, for 11th on the racetrack, so he's very close to getting back in the top 10. He's about 18 seconds off the lead. But a good recovery run, though, so far for Sheldon Creed. Continues to battle with Chandler Smith. Justin Allgaier has actually caught and passed John Hunter Nemechek here just recently, so now Allgaier's up to third. And he is less than a second off the second-place car of Austin Hill, trying to make a little bit of a run here in the late going. No junior motorsport car has gone to victory lane this season. Over a quarter of the way through the Xfinity Series season thus far. Allgaier trying to be the first one to get to victory lane. In fact, the only Chevys that have won this year are Austin Hill and then Jeb Burton last week at Talladega. The 21 and 27 cars. The 21 with 3 wins for RCR, and of course Jordan Anderson Racing with their first ever win as an organization last week with Burton. Take a quick look here real quick. Chat, see if we've had any newcomers recently. Don't see any. Appreciate everybody that has tuned in so far, though, as we have about 74 people watching, 50 likes on the stream. Trying to run that up. We'll see if we can get that to 75 before the finish. Be sure to stay tuned for a quick post-race show where you'll get to listen to interviews from your top finishers of today's race. We'll go through the full field finishing order as well for today's A-Game 200 at Dover. Allgaier is about 0.4 of a second behind Austin Hill. All the top 3 running similar lap times to each other now, but Ryan Truex building up that 5-second gap with not a lot of time left in this race. Could be vital. Allgaier completes the pass for second on Austin Hill, moves up pretty late. He probably should have moved up sooner, but he was still clear. 21 struggling with the rear grip of his race cars. He slides way up the track. A lot of lap cars going 3 wide behind them as well. absolute scrum right around Josh Berry and John Hunter Nemechek for 4th. Berry going up the middle between a couple of cars of Corey Heim and Patrick Emmerle. Trying to create his own room to keep up with the 20. He actually lost a little bit of ground as a result of having to go to that lane. And now the question is that Allgaier got to second. Does he have anything for Ryan Truex? 5.7 seconds is an awfully large lead. He's going to have to try to catch on Ryan. But now that he's got track position, we do know we have a pit stop coming up. Do you take a gamble? Maybe. Depending on how long these guys stay out, do you potentially go right sides only to try to gain track position that way and hopefully leapfrog the 19? Allgaier was a little bit quicker the last 2 laps. He's about a 10th quicker than Ryan Truex 2 laps in a row. Now, obviously, he's going to have to pick up the pace a little bit to catch him. Maybe if they pit sooner, they pit a lap before him, they can leapfrog about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds that way, because that's about how much fall off we've had since the start of the run. That last lap Ryan Truex dropped was about 1.7 seconds slower than his fastest lap of the race. So he can definitely get about 1.5 seconds by just pitting 1 lap before him. It'd be dangerous though, especially at a faster 1 mile track like Dover, because you could run the risk of going a couple laps down. And also, this is one of the toughest pit roads to get onto as well, which we haven't really talked about because there haven't been any green flag stops today. But if they do have to make a green flag stop in this final stage, you have to make sure to hit that commitment line with all 4 tires. And you also have to make sure you don't speed, which is going to be very, very difficult. Mid-corner speed at Dover in these Xfinity cars, anywhere from 130 to 140 miles an hour. They have to drop it down to the pit road speed, which is only 35 miles per hour. By the center of the corner, too, where the commitment line is, before the pit wall off the exit of turn 4. John Hunter Nemechek is in. He'll short pit.
Adam, he's been getting a lot of notes about what his teammate is doing on the lead line-wise, trying to work on his line and work on his car from the driver's seat. Right now I told the team I'm a little loose, I'm a little tight, I don't really know exactly what I need, because I've been trying to get the perfect balance on that car.
38 to go, lap 162.
So Nemechek first car on the pit road. His teammate Sammy Smith coming down now. Nemechek was in 4th at the time of him pitting and about 7 seconds off the lead.
Sammy Smith. And he's already won on his pit stop because he was able to get in as a rookie at Dover and he didn't spin it. Now if he doesn't speed, he's got to feel really good about the execution, right?
You're going so fast here, and you're on old tires. Getting below that orange box and getting to pit road correctly is a very tough task. One of the hardest places to hit.
Not get run over while you pit is always challenging here.
I love the story of Sammy Smith. He's a high school senior. Going to graduate if he hasn't already, but taking classes online, moved from Iowa, Johnston, where he's from, to North Carolina, to put himself in position to drive this race car, living on his own. Having another good day today.
Josh Berry now on pit road.
That red car's been clicking off some really good laps here as this run goes on. The biggest issue is he's good on the bottom. He's struggling to run anywhere other than the bottom of the car. Gets too free and too loose when he moves up to the top of the track.
And you can see on our map, top left, when these guys make a pit stop, what happens to them in regard to race leader Ryan Truex. When you make a pit stop here under green, you lose that lap, but you got those fresher tires, and we'll see how it all cycles out after Truex and the others up front make their stop.
Truex and Allgaier continue to stay out on the racetrack, and now Allgaier's cut the lead from originally 5.7 seconds back when he initially took over second place, down to 4.9 seconds at the start-finish line that last time. We're down to 33 laps to go. It is crunch time in today's Xfinity Series race at Dover. Waiting to see what the call will be here from Jason Ratcliffe, crew chief on the 19, on when to bring him into the pits. He's coming in now. I would imagine Allgaier will be coming in as well. Sam Mayer is on pit road.
Here's Sam Mayer making his stop, Josh.
Yeah, an update on 19 of Brian.
Allgaier's in also.
Strong at 113 laps. They did a clean pit stop here. Remember, this is a place he nearly won, so he's looking to complete that
executing the green flag pit stop. Leader is in. Ryan Truex in the 19.
This is just no mistakes. Clean pit stop.
Gonna be tough.
Back down to Josh.
Yeah, and Justin Allgaier was reporting that the balance was off for most of the race with that 7 car, but during that last run, he felt like he had something he could finally work with. Hoping for a clean pit stop. Hoping they can get this and give him something to work with. Took to the 21 of Austin Hill. For him, it's all been about finding the right line, the fastest line, to try and track down the car.
A little longer stop for Ryan Truex. We'll see what that does to impact things on track. His advantage when the cycle began, 5.5 seconds. Cole Custer yet to make a stop. Sheldon Creed on track behind him. Remember, Creed, the one we talked about that can run longer because of when they made their stop after spinning. They made one cycle down pit road since the end of stage 2 when they had that slide in turns 3 and 4.
29 laps to go at the line for Stone Cold Custer, who leads for the first time since leading the first 10 laps of the race. Of course, during the cycling of green flag pit stops, Custer was in 6th place. Prior to the start of the pit stops, Daniel Hemrick and the 11 cars down on the pit road.
Possibly running this thing until basically you're out of gas, and then making a shorter pit stop with probably only 2 tires.
Yeah, I like to be on one side or the other. At the very beginning of short pit, or the last one to hit pit road.
Yes.
If you're in the middle, it usually just doesn't play out, or you're not gaining much.
Cole Custer stays on track.
Custer's coming in.
He's going to come this time. He'll do it with 28 laps to go.
I imagine Riley Herbst's teammate will be in, and Sheldon Creed will take the lead.
Through the cycle, the 19 still in front of the 20 as Custer comes down to you, Regan.
Adam, his car fires off very good. They got it good for the first 5 laps. The problem for Cole, it goes tight from that point on during the runs. In particular, when the rubber goes down on the track, he's really struggling to get the nose across the rubber on the racetrack.
Scheduled green flag pit stops here at Dover, and they're happening inside of 30 laps to go. With Custer coming in, Sheldon Creed is now the race leader.
Chandler Smith, Riley Herbst, Sheldon Creed, Brett Moffitt, Jeb Burton, all cars that still have to pit. Ryan Truex is scored in 9th right now. He was leading at the start of green flag pit stops. Only 5 cars are on the lead lap as we run. The hope is to catch a caution here late in the middle of green flag stops for these drivers trying to run a little bit longer. Herbst last pitted 81 laps ago. Again, the fuel window 85 to 90 laps. Sheldon Creed last pitted 73 laps ago. We're down to 25 laps left, so Creed is still likely short on gas to make it to the end. But he can definitely run a bit longer if he so chooses, which I would imagine at this point you have to be committed to taking this run as far as you possibly can. Surprised that Cole Custer didn't try to do that in his situation. Maybe it's because he was in the top 10 versus Riley Herbst, but as long as he stayed out where he was, I'm surprised that he didn't actually try to go for it. Ryan Truex, first car lap down, by the way, up to 6th place. Some of the other drivers like Joe Graf Jr., Josh Williams have now just made their pit stops under green flag conditions. Justin Allgaier had a very slow stop with that 17. That costed him a couple spots. He actually cycled behind Jonathan Nemechek and Josh Berry. He is behind Berry still, but he did pass Nemechek on racetrack moments ago for 9th, and now battles Berry for 8th. Joe Graf Jr. actually still on the track. That hasn't pit yet, but he is a lap down. The 8 and the 7 going to work their way around. Berry got held up behind Joe Graf Jr. Allgaier's got nowhere to go, though, going into the corner, but to follow the 8 as they continue to go nose to tail, battling for position, very similar to what they did late in the race last year when they had battled for the race win, though this is coming in the late going to the race as well, but it is not for the race win. It would eventually be 2nd place that they are battling for. Tough to tell interval-wise how far behind the 19 they are as of right now. Ryan Truex about to unlap himself in another lap or 2 from Creed. Berry's starting to pull away from the 7 just a little bit. And We'll see how much Sheldon Creed may try to hold up Ryan Truex here. It's going to be difficult on about 70 lap older tires for Creed. We are down to just 20 laps to go in this Xfinity Series race. Ryan Truex will unlap himself. We'll take a quick break here, our final one of the race, and then bring you the finish of the A-Game 200 live at Dover on KRC. Sorry for that quick one. I try to get 4 out for the Xfinity and truck races. Chandler Smith on pit road.
Down there in 1 and 2.
See Chandler coming in, getting his 4 tires. They ran long, right? The gamble for them was, let's pray there's a caution and we can snag all this track position. It just has that running long type of feeling right now, though.
Right, yeah. If you're the 2, you're asking, hey, is there something on the track out here?
Sheldon Creed continues to stay out again. He had about 9 to 10 laps more of fuel in his car. Riley Herbst and Brett Moffitt are still on the racetrack as well. Jeb Burton also on the lead lap and on the track. Ryan Truex was the first one to unlap himself. Josh Berry, Justin Allgaier, Jonathan Nemechek, Austin Hill, and others still lapped down until they either pass the 2 or the 2 pits, whatever comes first. I'd imagine they'll catch the 2 before the 2 ends up hitting pit road, considering he could probably go close to another 10 laps. But Ryan Truex has put a pretty massive gap between himself, the 8 and the 7. Truex has been the class of the field. Short run, long run, doesn't matter. By far, this is the longest green flag run of the race today, as we last restarted with just over 90 laps to go. Sheldon Creed just kind of hoping and praying for a caution so he could take fresh tires. And with only a few cars on the lead lap, he'd be right there with Ryan Truex on the restart. May even bring the 19 back onto pit road as a result. I don't know if they have any more tires left in that 19 camp or not. I know Sheldon Creed has a set left for sure because he obviously hasn't pitted yet. But even though he pitted early in this stage, I would imagine because Sheldon Creed ended up not pitting during that competition caution very early in the race, he still has a set left, where Ryan Truex probably doesn't have a set of tires left. He would have to throw scuffs on if he decided to throw any on, which he might as well stay out at that point. Josh Berry will just unlap himself on Creed. Allgaier dives underneath the 2 car to the bottom of the track. Slower lap car in the way of Allgaier. He will clear the 2. Creed has about a 6.8 second advantage over Riley Herbst right now. And Jeb Burton is now on his way to pit road from 3rd place. It's amazing how long Riley Herbst is gone, though. Is there a chance that maybe Sheldon Creed can make it on fuel? Because Herbst pitted 9 laps before Sheldon Creed. We're down to just 13 laps to go. I don't know how far Herbst can go at this point, but you wonder if the likelihood of Sheldon Creed being able to make it is an option, and despite spinning earlier in the stage, it might end up helping to make it on fuel. I wouldn't have expected they could have made it, but the longer Riley Herbst goes, the more I can think that maybe Sheldon Creed could make it. Now he's got a 17-second gap over Ryan Truex he's also going to have to maintain, so he can't really save too much fuel. That last lap, Sheldon Creed dropped to 21.194. Truex ran at 24.238, so Truex about 9/10 of a second quicker than Creed that last lap, but being over 16 seconds off the lead, that pace is going to have to quicken just a little bit more, obviously, if he is going to be able to catch the 2. The more cars that obviously pass Sheldon Creed as they're passing him, maybe a slower lap time could be held. And Creed, no, never mind. He's on his way to pit road. He will not stretch it any further. He's on pit road with 11 to go.
Got all he could there on pit road. I mean, they played the strategy. It's going to hurt them in the end of the finish, but they had a shot here if the caution would have fell.
Riley Herbst is also in.
I like the chant. I like the gamble on that. Why don't we give it a shot? Here comes a 98 as well.
Down to Josh.
And just Sheldon Creed coming into pit right now. There was a debate whether or not they could make it, whether or not they get a caution. They knew they didn't have enough fuel to make it to the end, so ultimately decided to come in and pit, guys.
Quick gas and go. on Sheldon Creed. We talked about the two-tire option maybe late in the round. He did the gas and go. Interesting play.
Yeah, he was 11th when the cycle began, so we'll see what it nets him after the spin, and then they had the debris early when they had the extended stop.
It doesn't look like Creed's really going to gain many spots out of it. He obviously stayed out quite a long ways. This will keep him on the lead lap, where if he would have taken tires, I don't think he would have stayed on the lead lap, so I think that was the big picture goal. He came out of the pits in 10th, and he's about 2 seconds ahead of Daniel Hemrick, who obviously has fresher tires behind him. I believe Riley Herbst also went fuel only. He is in 12th and just went a lap down at the hands of Ryan Truex. 8 laps to go. Ryan Truex trying to win at his home track for the first time ever in his NASCAR career in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. This is his 89th career start. He has been running part-time for Joe Gibbs Racing this season. This is his 6th start of the year. And will this one be the one that could take him to victory lane? He has had finishes of 2nd and 3rd at Phoenix and Atlanta already this season. Led a lot of laps in both of those races. Today he has led the most laps of any other driver today. He won Stage 1. He won Stage 2. Now he's just hoping to coast to the finish. Hopefully it stays green. He's got a 5.5 second lead over Josh Berry and Justin Allgaier, who still battle for 2nd place to the end. Austin Hill back in 4th, and then Nemechek is 5th, rounding out the top 5 following the green flag pit stops. Now his brother, Martin Truex Jr., got his first career Cup win right here at his home track at Dover all the way back in 2007. One of the first races with the car of tomorrow at the time. Truex then driving the one car for DEI, his only win with that organization in the Cup Series. 5 laps left for Ryan Truex to get the job done on the same track. Got quite a bit of lap traffic in front of him, but he doesn't have to overly push it here because he is way ahead of Josh Berry. With the 6 cautions in this race today, I don't think anybody could have predicted that the final 90-plus laps would go caution-free. The way the pacing was in the first half. These drivers have done a great job cleaning it up, not making any mistakes really at all. We've seen some battles for position within the top 10, very close ones at that. From time to time, still have a somewhat tight battle for second. About an 8/10 of a second difference right now between positions 2 and 3 of Berry and Allgaier. 3 to go at the line. Truex has side-by-side lap traffic in front of him. Just going to kind of hold on behind those guys. Definitely not pushing the issue trying to lap cars like he was towards the end of Stage 2, where he was absolutely hauling the mail around them. Still passing them, but a lot more leisurely. A little walk in the park. Gets to the inside of Jeb Burton, Sheldon Creed, who pitted for fuel only on their late stops. Creed right in front of the leader is in 11th place, so there is only going to be 10 cars on the lead lap, as Truex will clear Creed off of turn 4 pretty easily there on the fresher tires. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Ryan Truex, 4.5 seconds ahead of Josh Berry. Absolutely mollywopped the field today. Without a doubt, he had the fastest car, and by far is the most deserving driver to win. 89 races, finally, after 13 years in the sport of NASCAR, Ryan Truex is going to win his first career NASCAR Xfinity Series race, and it comes at the Monster Mile in the A-Game 200. You'll get to hear from him as well as some of the other top finishers from today's race. Only 10 cars finish on the lead lap. 200-mile, 200-lap event here. 1 hour, 51 minutes, and 56 seconds. Total time on today's race, 104.21 miles per hour was the average race speed. We had just 6 different leaders and a total of 12 lead changes among those 6 leaders. Truex led 124 of the 200 laps today en route to the victory, as well as sweeping the stages. And we had 6 cautions total in today's race as well. He is burning it down on the front stretch as we speak. See if he knows how to do it. Saw some issues with some burnouts at Talladega last week across all 3 series, but Truex having no issues with his burnout here on the front stretch. And a great win for Ryan. trying to earn himself a potential full-time ride with JGR or maybe somewhere else in the Xfinity Series next year. I think more deservedly so. He has had 3 top 3s in 3 starts. He's the 3rd Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota driver to go to victory lane, the 7th different winner in the Xfinity Series this season as well.
Congratulations, Ryan. That's so special. First one's awesome. He'd been second on multiple occasions, including right here at Dover. Today, he officially climbs the mountain. Running part-time. He told us when he showed up at Phoenix earlier this year, he hadn't raced since last July. It's so difficult when you don't get that rhythm and routine behind the wheel. No problem for Ryan this afternoon.
I think he needs to let the flow out. Go ahead and get the helmet off, let the flow out, show the people what they want.
Is that what they want?
I mean, maybe. He's got a lot of it right now.
Got a lot of it.
197 wins all time for Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series. 31 years old from Mayetta, New Jersey. And Ryan Truex wins it today. Josh?
Ryan, think back to 2012. How close you were to getting that first victory right here. Fast forward to today. Does it make it that much sweeter knowing you got it done at your home track?
I'm out of breath, man. Oh my God. Just so thankful. All these fans, my team, everybody that stuck behind me. Most people didn't believe in me, and I still did. My girlfriend Leah, my family, parents, brother, everybody. Just so thankful to be here. This is amazing. I felt like 20 to go, I was just waiting for something to happen. And I was just praying, please, guys, just keep everything straight. Let's get to the end of this. And what a car. What an amazing GR Supra. I'm speechless. I thought I'd be more emotional right now, but when I crossed the flag, I couldn't even talk on the radio. I'm not an emotional guy, so yeah. This is for everyone that doubted me.
Ryan, I asked you this week how your career would have been different if you had won that race back in 2012. What does this win do for your career going forward?
I belong here, and I just proved that. And I've known it for a while. People around me have known it for a while, and now everybody in this garage area knows it. And my goal is to drive one of these cars full-time next year, and hopefully we can make it happen.
Congratulations, Ryan.
Big time celebration, I'm sure, coming up tonight for Ryan Truex. Here's Josh Berry with Regan Smith.
It appeared that it took a little bit too much time to get that car perfect for you.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird race. I felt like, I really thought we fired off really well in the first stage. The second stage, we lost a little track position, just kind of got mired in the pack a little bit, and we couldn't ever really get out of there until there at the end. But, the guys did some good adjustments there in the second half of the race. Pit crew had executed well those last couple stops, had a good green flag cycle, got up to second. Just 19 was too far out. I think we were holding with him a little bit, but it seemed like he was the best car all day. So, all in all, like I said, I finished first and second here. So, we'll see what we can do tomorrow. But I just want to thank the Jarrett family, everything they do for us here at Junior Motorsports, everybody on this 18 for working so hard. It's a fun day. I love this racetrack, and hate that we couldn't get the win, but it was a great rebound, great day for us, and we'll keep digging.
You mentioned tomorrow. Obviously, you got to fill in for Alex Bowman in the 48 car tomorrow. Any takeaways from today that you can take to that race tomorrow that you learned?
Yeah, I think so. I just, I feel good about what we had in practice. Obviously got to look at some stuff tonight and just see if there's anything I can pick up on. But I feel like I have a pretty solid approach to this place. Talking to Alex, me and him kind of seem to have the same idea there. So I'm excited for it. We'll just race hard tomorrow and see what happens.
Another strong day at Dover for Josh Berry.
Yeah, the average finish, he pointed it out, is really good. A second, a first, and a second.
We'll go through the full field finishing results if we get any other interviews before we go off the air as well. You guys will get to listen in. Ryan Truex gets the victory today. Margin of victory 4.8 seconds over Josh Berry, who finishes second. Justin Allgaier with a third place finish today. Austin Hill in fourth, and John Hunter Nemechek rounds out the top 5. Sammy Smith finishes 6th. Cole Custer 7th. He was my win pick today. Brandon Jones finishes 8th. Sam Mayer 9th, and Daniel Hemrick will round out the top 10. Only 10 cars finish on the lead lap. Sheldon Creed was the first car lap down, finishing in 11th after a spin earlier in the stage. Kaz Gralla finishes 12th, Chandler Smith 13th, Kyle Weatherman 14th, Brett Moffitt 15th. Ryan Sieg finishes 16th, Parker Retzlaff 17th, Jeb Burton 18th, Jeremy Clements 19th, and Derek Krause fell back to 20th there at the end. Riley Herbst finishes 21st, Joe Graff Jr. 22nd, Josh Williams 23rd, Brennan Poole 24th, Ryan Ellis 25th, Raja Karut 26th, Greg Golding at 27th, Stephen Parsons 28th, Kyle Sieg 29th, Timmy Hill will finish 30th, Garrett Smithley 31st, Chad Chastain 32nd, Patrick Emerling 33rd, CJ McLaughlin 34th, 35th was Corey Heim, Anthony Alfredo 36th, Jeffrey Earnhardt 37th, and Parker Kligerman 38th. We have 4 drivers DNF today. Those last 4 in the finishing order did not make it to the finish of today's race. Appreciate everybody tuning in here today. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We'll be live for tomorrow's live commentary of the NASCAR Cup Series race. That will start at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with our pre-race coverage, predictions, last-second fantasy advice, and other stuff. So you won't want to miss it. My predictions have been very good so far this season, especially for the must-have picks, and trying to go for that 4th win pick prediction on the year as well. Thanks everybody for watching. I got a couple shout-outs here at the end of the stream as well that I did not see in the late going. Again, I couldn't watch the chat on my phone. I actually had to watch the race on my phone, so if you saw me holding it throughout the course of the race, that was why. My hand was shaking towards the end, but I was able to make it. Godzilla Legendary 2078, thanks for watching, as well as, let's see here. I'm not sure how to say your first name, but Pepper, thanks for tuning in as well. He's happy about the Ryan Truex win. A feel-good story for Ryan Truex getting the victory today, without a doubt. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the coverage. And as always, I'll see you again tomorrow for the Cup race. Can't wait for it. That race will be on FS1 for anybody wondering, just like today's race was. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your Saturday afternoon, and I'll see you back better than ever again tomorrow.